Okay, here we go.
All right.
Round five.
Round five, man. I like it. I like it. Yeah. I like it because we're undefeated right now. You know,
You and me
and,
being on
and that was
stream, we're
good.
undefeated. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, we're on a streak right now. Before, if you remember the last time that we did this, I was concerned that I was bringing her down. And now I feel like, we're part of, the hot streak.
Yeah, the hot streak. That's
Yeah.
right. Hmm.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see what, she's playing white today. So I'm curious to see what comes, because she's changing her openings. So I'm wondering if we'll get the London or if we'll get something, that she's got, new that she's going to introduce.
Yeah,
She
we'll
didn't get to
see.
do it yesterday because
Yeah,
our boy
before.
played
Yeah,
before and
yeah,
apologized, but now she gets to set the tone. And I'm curious to see, what comes out. Hey, Stufffish. I'm curious to see what comes out, this go round. Also, question: do we know Donald Miller's her opponent's rating? Is she
yeah.
the heavy in this one, or is she you know
Well, I
got
looked
some
up.
got some
I looked
game
up
here?
Donald Miller, and it is a Donald Miller that she's played before. And if I'm picking the right one, there's a bunch of Donald Millers. That's the problem.
Okay,
But if I'm picking the right one, then I think he's about 1300. So she should have
okay,
the edge, but as she was mentioning before the stream got started, she has played him before and he beat her that game. So
how long ago was this though?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that's
Okay,
that's a
so
that's a
this
good
is a
question.
little revenge on this,
Yeah, a little
which yeah.
revenge here at stake. I'm going to try to do a little research on that and see if I can't.
Yeah, they're talking like they've played before, and he seems pretty happy to. And Cameron's kind of just like, yeah, I remember you. I'm gonna be nice before the game, and then I'm gonna get you for what you did. I remember what you did, and it's revenge time. I think we all, as chess improvers, have a list. I know I do of people that must get gotten, who got me, and it's long because I lose a lot. So I'm rooting extra hard for Cameron in this game for revenge.
I'm looking
He's
up.
probably a very nice man, but I want him to go down. He looks like a nice
Oh
guy.
yeah, we got to be rooting
Looks
for
like
Cameron.
somebody
I'm
that
sorry,
I
sorry,
would
but
enjoy meeting. Yeah,
yeah.
looks like a friendly man, just kind gentleman. But no, sir, no Donald Miller. You must fall for what you did. You know what you did.
This is round five of the South Dakota Governor's Cup, and we haven't seen all of the games, so I'm trying to, at this very moment, find the standings. Cameron has 3 points out of four,
Oh, she's having a day,
so
or I should
she's
say a
having a
tournament. She's
weekend.
she's she's doing well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
she's having a
doing
week.
well,
Yeah.
and but there's that still puts her just in eighth place. Believe it or not, there's one person with a perfect score of
Good
4 points.
Lord, man.
Yeah.
How? How is this? See, that's the evil of chess.
Hmm.
That you could have the greatest week of your life, and the chess gods are like, yeah, we don't care. You're eighth.
Well, it looks like it's there's a lot of people in the section. It's like a 50-player section, so it's not too
Really?
surprising actually. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
somebody with a perfect score, or there's a few three and a halves, and then a bunch of
Right.
threes, and she's in that pool of three
Gotcha.
players.
Pool of three
So
players. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
yeah, she's playing Donald Miller, who also has 3 points. He's rated at 13-10.
Jay Mastermind just informed us in chat that this gentleman is also an arbiter. Fun fact.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, Cameron lost her first round game and then won the next three in a row. So that's quite the bounce back.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So see if she can finish strong.
Yeah. That's I want that for her, especially revenge game. You Interesting that he's in this tournament and he's also an arbiter. I always like it when the arbiters get an opportunity to jump in, and play.
Yeah.
There's some here in Florida that I see. You get the same crew more or less whenever you have the events, and I've played events where arbiters from the events where they're doing that job suddenly are playing, and you look and it's like
Yeah.
they don't even look right because they don't have the director's shirt on or anything. And you're like, wait a minute, you have regular clothes, you have clothes that don't say director arbiter on it. What is this? I don't understand. And so yeah, they're like, yeah, I'm actually playing in this.
Yeah,
I never
that's
see them because they're so much further up, in the standings than where I would be slated. But it's nice to see them get opportunities to play.
yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing more tournament directing than playing, but I try to play every once in a while at least.
Jay
So
Mastermind has like the deep info on. It's like it's if I want to know like what is his credit score? What else do you know about Donald Miller? Because he's saying that Donald Miller has been inactive or for an over the board chess for 20 plus years.
yeah, but
So I'm
it's
wondering
not
when
going
he
to be an
played
easy
her
game.
before though.
Not an
Yeah.
easy game. Oh
No,
yeah,
no, it's
so
you don't forget. It's a
right.
you could walk away and as I'm learning, time away can help some of the things that you were learning kind of settle in, a little bit. So, he didn't get there by accident.
No, no,
Yeah, you don't become an arbiter in chess because you don't like it. Yeah, so
that's true.
he kind of has that calm of okay, and they're getting started. Of yeah, this is what I do. Well,
Yeah.
he had 50
Oh no,
over board
definitely
games in
very
the 90s,
experienced.
the
Yeah.
totality of the 90s.
Well,
Oh
I was
wow.
trying to see if I could find the tournament, but it must have been a little while ago because I couldn't quite find it, and we got some moves.
Okay.
So I'll let chat dig that up when they last played.
Okay. So we got a little D for it. Okay, so we're probably getting to London after all.
A London, after all. Well, she might go for Queen's Gambit. I think she'd been preparing for some
She
Queen's
did say
Gambit
that.
lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going back to the trusty London. Yes, Bishop F4. There
Okay.
we go.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I just this is that's got round five written all over it. That's got round
Yeah,
five. I don't want to think. Let me
yeah, the
just
tried and true.
yeah,
This is for like if she gets 4 out of 5. I mean, that's a
four
really
out of
good
five.
tournament.
Yeah,
That's a really
this
good
is
tournament.
yeah.
And
Go with what got you to the dance. I'm not mad at that.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
I'm wondering what he's gonna do.
and also, I don't know what color she played against him last time. If she did play London against him last time, maybe she'll have improved on what she had played before and wants another crack at him.
Yeah.
So far, nothing too special, but um, let's
All right,
see.
so Ian, let me ask you this: the his response to the London, and you're a London player, so you would have seen all every the kitchen sink, the bathroom sink, all of it thrown at you in this, but I always
Yeah.
respond to the London with King's Indian defense. So
Right.
I'm not familiar with this particular pattern or if it's good or what he's even doing on this. What is this? Is it good? Will her London be effective against whatever this is that Donald Miller is doing?
Yeah, he's playing sort of a main line. Like once you see D5 and Knight F6, this is really like the main line that you get. I get this most often.
Got you. Okay.
King's Indian you get every once in a while, and then there's a lot of different ways Black can go from here. C5 is a move. Knight C6 after that. Queen B6. That sort of kind of setup is possible. And then sometimes you get this early bishop F5 move, which is designed to try to prevent white from playing bishop to D3.
Hmm.
And because then maybe black just trades the bishops off. And normally white would like to have this bishop here just as part of an attack on black's king when they castle. So
Okay.
when my opponents do this, I don't like to play bishop D3. That's just my personal preference. I'm sure it's a completely fine move. But I like to go knight F3 or bishop to E2, which is what she played. And then I have a plan to go bishop E2, knight E5, G4. That's my basic plan.
Okay.
So, for example, let's say he goes E6. This would be very natural. Bishop E2. Nothing to see here. Maybe like a knight D7 or bishop e7, something not really too threatening, or even like bishop d6, let's say, knight e5.
Right.
And then I'm usually pretty happy if black just castles here. You can see that bar creep up.
Yep.
I've had this position many times. And
Mm.
usually, and this sort of actually reminds me of the last game we were commentating on. When you get a situation like this, black just castles thinking, oh, it's just a normal position. White's developing. They got their knight to the center fine. But now they're probably going to castle or they're going to move their knight out. But then comes g4, attacking the bishop. And the bishop has to go back. h4.
Oh, geez. You can it's almost like a well, now he's got it's not quite the um what is it called? There's a similar tactic in when you face the Carol Khan
Mm.
where you start pushing that H pawn
Yeah, this is pretty
to
different.
trap that bishop. That's very different. It's just it made me think of that, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is almost kind of that same tactic. But I think you're probably going to do something differently. Are you attacking the knight again after this, or no?
Well, the difference is that in the Carol Khan, black usually plays h6, and they can play that here, but in the Carol Khan, their bishop's not attacked. So they have
Ah,
time to play h6, and if they get attacked, they go back. Here, they're not going to have time to retreat the bishop back, so if they play h6 or h5, we can take this bishop and just completely destroy their whole pawn structure.
wow.
I don't think we even necessarily have to take it. We also have maybe moves like g5 or h5 and then g5. Suddenly, we have a lot of attacking ideas. And I think maybe the best move is actually g5. Yeah,
Actually, because yeah, where does that?
because we're just going to take this. And if
Yep.
black takes, we can take with the pawn.
Yep.
And we can always, after a move like this, we can always. Oh, now we're really winning. Oh no, that's not even safe. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, they can't even go there. So now we have the open H file. The knight might move away, and we can still take this and destroy everything. So
I like it.
this would not
Yeah,
be what black
that would
wants.
not be pleasant
Yeah, this is not what they
for that.
want.
Yeah, that's not pleasant for black. Yeah, black
And there's a
would
little
not
more
enjoy
to
that.
it than this, yeah, but it's a really good way for white to start the game. So I like this kind of trick, just to play knight f3 and make it look like I'm not really doing anything. Dangerous. Knight e5, they see it a million times, and then g4 all of a sudden. This can be a surprise move. And it's just not really a good response to h4 because if you take the knight, thinking, okay, I'll take the knight, then I'll play h6, you don't have time for h6 because your knight is under attack now.
Mm.
So this variation, you lose a piece.
Oh man,
Yeah. And if you go here, I have f3.
it's just like no, no.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Thank
bishop's
you for
trapped.
playing. Yeah,
So the game went knight f3 c5, and this whole idea can still happen, but now, well, it might be a little bit harder because I think she does need to play c3. Very likely she should play c3 just to guard d4, and then black might try to go for some queenside counterplay. And in that case, we won't really have time for bishop to e2 and knight
right.
e5 and g4 stuff. So it's an interesting hybrid of the two lines to play this move. Might actually backfire big time. There's some danger here for black if they ever play e6, especially because I'm not sure about the combination of bishop f5 and this pawn move. What it does is it potentially weakens this diagonal to the
Mm.
king. So, for example, let's say we play c3 and black just goes e6.
Right.
Maybe we jump in here and we need black to do something not so good. I don't know what that would be. Knight c6 is maybe possible, but then we have like really annoying variations like this. Where we're double attacking this knight. Plus, our queen can come in and build more pressure on it.
Right.
It's actually very annoying for black to deal with this.
Yeah.
You might already have to be extremely precise and play queen b6 might be the only move. I don't know. Yeah, queen b6 would be the move.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's if you don't, then that rook's gonna go.
Well, like for example, you can't go queen c7 because I just take this with a discovered attack on the queen.
I didn't even think of that. Now I'm getting that for free. Yeah. Oh, geez.
1 second, sorry. Okay. Um. Yeah. So I don't know. C5, maybe she'll play C3. I don't know if there's something more aggressive that she can do.
She did something. She's writing something down.
There's surely not a way to punish C5 right now. Maybe if E6 happens, we can do something. And again, like I want some position like this where the rook goes here and we go queen here, and if only black can't play queen b6, then maybe we're in business
Mm,
because then we're triple attacking this knight. It doesn't quite work in this particular move order, so yeah, because of queen b6, that's unfortunate. A lot of times this happens when the light squared bishop is still back here and they play b6 and then the knight comes to c6 and it gets pinned, and sometimes they lose that knight.
mm.
Yeah, she played c4. Wow. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a riskier move. She's going for a fight.
This is trying to think of where I've seen this. Might be Nate's class. His Chessable course might
Oh,
have
I know what
this.
you're talking about. No, that's different,
Yeah.
I think, because he usually has g3 and bishop g2.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But you're right.
Okay.
You see that same pawn break in the center. Just the pieces are developed much differently. Yeah, c4 is
Yeah.
super interesting. I would expect him to think here for a little bit because there's lots of choices. I mean, first of all, black could try to ignore what she's doing. Maybe e6 is just a simple thing to do.
Hmm.
But he could also take either way are there serious possibilities. I guess probably not taking c4 because you take c4, you just help us develop our bishop. I think we're
Right.
happy with that. Probably not this line. Maybe this. Well, if we take with the
Okay. And I was saying
pawn, we can get
you would take with the pawn.
maybe.
Okay.
We get isolated
Yeah, because
pawn
there's
here, which
you
is
can still get out of it, and get castled. So
yeah. We can play knight c3. We can try to push d5 later. This is possible, but um, actually, if black takes here, maybe there's an argument to be made for knight takes d5.
yeah, I'm trying to think of where the bishop goes. I guess it goes back, just either completely undeveloped or goes back in front of the king. But I don't see castling in the king's future anytime soon. Although uh, you know what, I was just thinking that you could fork, but it's not there.
For
That
where?
pawn, but it's with the pawn, but it doesn't work.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was looking at that and I was like, oh wait a minute, it doesn't actually work.
yeah, not safe, and we are threatening this bishop right now. So maybe it's a possibility in the future. That's the one worry about this line for white is that we don't have a pawn in the center anymore. But he played a
Mm.
move e6. Yeah, this is just a simpler thing to do, and we have perfectly symmetrical position. But these perfectly symmetrical positions typically favor the side to move. So
Ah,
yeah, I don't know if there's a very accurate way for her to take advantage of it at this moment, but I'm a little bit interested in what happens if we decide to snag this knight.
yeah, I like that.
Snag the knight, go here, and then knight
Yep.
e5.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a threat. I guess that's not good. But there is, I think, a threat, which is to take and then go bishop to b5 check.
Yeah, I don't like. Why does the engine hate it?
Yeah, I'm not
Probably
sure.
something, you know, way down the line that it just doesn't like. But yeah, no, uh, I like that. I guess because you gave up the bishop pair, maybe. Maybe that's what it doesn't like.
Well, I'll give up the bishop pair if it means black has to play king e7.
Yeah, agreed.
But it might be that black doesn't even really care so much about the check. We can just check this one line really quickly, and if you allow this check, maybe the king just moves over, and it's honestly not terrible. Yeah, black even still has a little
Yeah, I
advantage
don't
here.
mind this at all. Sit right there, Mr. King.
Well, the king is safe.
And that rook
The
never
problem
gets
is
in the
the
game.
rook. Oh, do you don't mind it for white or black?
For black. I don't mind it or rather for white. I don't mind it at all.
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't mind this.
I think
Yeah.
it's fine. I don't think this rook will be trapped forever. There's ways to try to extract it later. Maybe we just launch this pawn down the board now that we don't have to worry about our king being opened up on the h file. But
That's a fair point.
yeah,
There's counterplay for sure.
yeah, there's still a lot of
And
play
now,
here.
like, yeah, with you know what? And now that I'm thinking about it, if you're white in this position, you're not. You're going to castle into that storm. It almost has the same. It could have the same impact as if he'd opposite castled, just because of the king will eventually have to move in order to connect, and he's got all his pieces around him, so he's not in. I don't want to say he's not in any danger, but it's not dire. There are
Yeah, no,
things he
it's
can
not
do.
dire. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and J Mastermind says he believes the theory is to take, and after some recapture, probably with the pawn, then bishop to b5 check. Yeah, I don't know the theory here, but this is certainly seems reasonable. And after, I'm not sure where this knight should go. Maybe knight d7, maybe. And white just castles.
Yeah. I was like, then it becomes just chess.
It's a game. Yeah, it's a game,
Yeah.
right? There's some imbalances in the pawn structure, and so yeah, it's not going to be some boring symmetrical structure for very long, I don't think. And we do have c takes d5.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I don't play d4. This is exactly you're looking at it. This is why I don't do it. I don't want to, be thinking about pawn structure. What move are we on? This is like move 7.
You don't want to be thinking about pawn structure. You got to think about
Yeah,
pawn
I don't be
structure.
thinking about pawn structure.
Well,
I don't be thinking about that now.
unfortunately, you have
You have to do it on
you
every
start
move,
with
right?
8 pawns. It's kind of an important thing to think about. Yeah, yeah.
Oh man,
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he recaptures, because he could recapture with the knight. Honestly, that'd be a little bit annoying because
that'd be very annoying.
I don't want.
That's kind of what you wanted to do on the other with the other line
It's
we were
sort of
looking
like
at.
the other way. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it's not good because now we have bishop check, and it's not that. Oh, really? Wait, there's something very good here for white, and I'm not sure what it is.
Maybe with the queen.
What is the good move? I thought it was check was my first
I would have thought
instinct.
that, but yeah,
If this we go here, and this is good for white. Now they have
yeah.
to go back with the knight to defend, and they're losing time. Even if they go back, maybe we even take this pawn and unleash our queen to help. No, doesn't like that either. Well, what does it like? what does it like? Yeah, what does it like here? Bishop g5. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, we undermine the knight here by going bishop g5. Get rid of this knight, then we're winning a piece.
Oh, and then yeah.
Yeah, this is a ton of pressure on black. Okay, but the problem is after here, I think they can just play knight c6, and it's not a big deal. Not a big deal for black. So bishop to b5 is tempting. She's certainly thinking about it. Oh, it's his turn.
What'd she do?
She'll probably be thinking about it if he recaptures with the knight. He hasn't. She played c takes.
Oh, he hasn't
d5.
done anything yet.
He hasn't replied
Okay.
yet. Yeah, and maybe he's thinking about it too. If you take, bishop b5 is obviously a big question, but there's something else here that's better. So, yeah, what could it be? Maybe it could be bishop takes the knight. It is in danger after all, and there are some tactics where if the rook takes, we go queen a4 check, and we pick up the pawn here.
Oh, I like that too.
That could be a problem for black. And if queen takes, then what? Then we have bishop check. Aha, there we
Hmm.
go.
Yep.
We have solved chess.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. This is what I needed. I needed this because I was trying to figure out chess, and now I have based on these moves. Now the what do you do here? Where's the king? What's the best square for the king after this? If you find yourself in this position.
If you find that yourself in this position, something's gone very wrong. Very wrong
See?
indeed. Yeah, because you don't really like either of these king moves.
No, that's fair.
So he didn't do this. He played queen a5. Check. Yeah.
Ah, okay. He's going to be annoying first.
He's going to be annoying first, but
Yeah, I don't
I,
mind it.
I think we can just
I
play knight
like it.
c3. Knight c3 would be the move. And maybe now knight takes.
Yeah, yeah.
And this can get like I don't know
That's
why people have this. I mean, London has a reputation for being boring, but this is not boring. I mean, this is getting very
no.
complicated all of a sudden. So one example for you is bishop takes knight.
Hmm.
Okay, not good, not the best move, but it's still an interesting line. Bishop takes knight, and if rook takes, then I want to go bishop to b5 check. Once again, the king is going to have to move.
Yeah,
So they can't take back on b8. I have to play knight takes c3, I believe. And then instead of taking back, because then we would get
yeah. You
forked,
just yeah.
this would probably be bad, although maybe we can go king e2. Oh, that's not the move. Wow. Okay.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, like well, where
Oh,
I'm
we have
trying to
knight
think.
d2. Sorry, we have knight
Ah,
d2.
okay.
Yeah, knight d2, and yes, black can take this bishop, but then we have a bishop b5 check again.
Yeah.
But actually, I think we may even have a stronger move, which would be queen d2. It's perhaps even better.
Oh.
Not better. But it's an interesting pin.
Yeah, because that knight has to move either way.
Yeah, actually,
One of them has to move.
at first glance, no, the knight can't move. Right?
Knight can't move,
The knight
but
can't
the
move. So.
queen can't stay.
Well, the queen can stay, is not in danger, but they can just take our bishop.
Oh, that's a fair point.
Yeah. I thought that queen d2 was necessary because I missed the knight d2 move, which makes that whole queen d2 idea unnecessary. But
Hmm.
okay, we have queen a5 and queen d2. So Kamryn's saying, "Let's go, let's trade the queens," which doesn't
Let's get him off the
necessarily
board.
mean a boring game. It means that she's hoping maybe for this is what happened. Queen takes d2. She's going to play knight takes d2. I'd be very surprised if she doesn't. In fact, she may have already moved. Knight takes d2 is played.
I guess she's just resigned that she's given up that pawn on d5.
Oh, that pawn on d5 was going to get captured no
Let's go,
matter
go
what.
count it anyway. Yeah, fair point. Yeah.
Yes, but now there's maybe a difficult decision for black here because if you take with the pawn, you end up with this isolated pawn on d5. That will be a target for white. And if you take with the knight, then I believe we can take this here. Rook takes, and then once again, bishop to b5. Or something even better. I mean, there's just, oh, sorry. We have just this move, wins a piece.
Gotcha.
That's a
Yeah,
nice little trap. You might think that black has a choice to take with the knight. Because e4 doesn't work, you grab the bishop. But white plays the in-between move, trading the bishop. And now you have the fork. And
that's
there's no
lovely.
knight capture on the
Yeah.
bishop anymore. Yeah. So that would win a piece. So that means that actually black, if they're going to take the pawn back, has to use the pawn. This is forced.
Mm.
We would hope for a fast move here where he takes with the knight, but I don't think we can. Oh, he did move though.
What do you do?
Oh, he took with
I
the.
don't think he's. I
Did he
don't
take
think
with
he's
the pawn?
gonna. I
He took with the
don't
pawn.
think he's gonna do that. I'd be surprised. But
Yeah,
stranger things.
he's played
Yeah.
this move.
Okay.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, we can take on c5 here and just be really happy that this pawn is weak. We control d4, so it's not like the pawn couldn't advance. We throw in a check. Most likely we throw in a check. And then we castle, bring our rooks to attack this pawn, maybe a knight b3 move once our king's not in the center anymore. And we can plant a knight on d4 as well. Pretty comfortable situation for white.
Hmm. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. This is the first game I think I've seen with Kamryn where the queens have come off the board this quickly.
Yeah, early queen trade definitely means that we might be in for the long haul once again.
Yep. Yep.
um, but but that's okay. Yeah, it should be pretty interesting to see what she plays here. It seems like there's definitely some options because you could play bishop takes the knight, then check.
Hmm.
If you feel like you don't want to just play check and let the knight block, then or knight to d7 maybe. So
I can't believe I'm saying this, but you want to get rid, not have the bishop pair. You would sack that bishop. You know, I don't care anything about bishops, and I'll sack them all day, every day. You know, but I'm actually surprised to hear you saying this. I'm like, wait a minute, do I need to be the voice of reason here with the bishop? Can you
yeah,
hang out?
maybe you need to be because
So what's wrong with this picture, right?
yeah, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here a little bit. We
No,
don't need
listen,
to do it.
you know me, I like it. Let's do it. You know, but I'm actually shocked to hear you say it. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't mind it, but it sounds like there's all kinds of tactics
Well,
that
I just
you know
want
when
this.
you
Yeah, I just want this bishop b5 check to be irritating as possible. And if there's just a
got
simple
you.
knight block, then it's not a big deal for black.
All right, so Cameron has
So
gotten up to go get her water. What move are we on?
she's played
This is
b3.
okay.
I don't like that move so much. It's interesting, but I don't know. It feels slow. So I
Hmm.
suppose the reason for b3 is to prevent c4. I guess she must have decided she didn't want to take this pawn, and instead, and so if you're not taking a pawn, you really don't want black to play c4. For example, if you go bishop e2 and c4, you can play positions like this, but black does get
That's very annoying.
pawn
I
storm coming down the board. Yeah,
Yeah, I have sat in that. There are players who annoyingly will set out to strategically do exactly this.
yeah,
Like in the beginning of the game, will push a center pawn twice and then do everything they can to keep that.
yep.
I don't typically see a whole lot of that in classical, but you see quite a bit of it, you know, in blitz games and things, and it's just like, why are we doing this? And
Well,
they're doing it because it's annoying and
it's
it's
annoying, and that's why
yeah,
she
and it's
played
wonderful for
b3.
them. Yeah,
But
and
the
yeah.
potential issues with b3 are the dark squares are weak now. So
Hmm.
if this pawn does trade, which I'm not sure black really wants to do that, but if they do trade, this bishop could be very
It's
annoying.
yeah, very annoying. Yeah, especially not having castled at all.
Imagine the bishop here. Oh, well, white can get castled, I think, because the knight on d2 is pretty
Yeah, but
safe.
that bishop there is just yeah,
But you won't
like
be able to get a rook to the open file with that
no.
bishop there.
And what's getting it in? Yeah, that just no. It's
Yeah.
just PTSD, man. I've had too many games like this where it's like it's one of those things where you only hate it because it's happening to you. That's the only reason you hate it. But when you look at it, you're like, oh, I admire that. I wish I had thought of it. Wish it was me
Um,
doing.
and the other sort of subtle issue with this move, by the way, is that if we do end up taking on c5, and okay, so let's do a couple of moves just to illustrate. You really want to have this bishop out, you really want to be castled, but you also really want to control d4. This is the square that you need to control in front of the isolated pawn so it can't ever advance and trade. But to do
Mm.
that, the move that we want to do is knight b3. And now this pawn's in the way.
And now that's gone.
Yeah, we don't have that possibility anymore. So it becomes harder to prevent black from just doing this, allowing, like, just developing their bishop and then trading this isolated pawn off. on the next move. So
I didn't think about that. Yep,
yeah,
now
the whole
I believe
plan
he's moved his
of
other pawn or something, or the knight.
blockading this pawn now is much harder to do.
Got it. Is that always the general rule of thumb with uh isolated um queen
Yes,
pawns?
yes,
Okay.
yes. The general rule of thumb with isolated pawns, any isolated pawn or a backwards pawn, is to blockade it. Number one, like we're not trying to go win that pawn right now. Isolated or backwards pawn is typically like a long-term weakness because they'll try to protect it. So you're not just going to go take it on
Got
the
it.
next move, typically. So, so the first part of the plan is to blockade it. Then we're going to attack it eventually. Once we're sure that pawn can't move, we're just going to put some pressure on it and try to maybe eventually win it if we can get more attackers on it. And then eventually winning it is destroy it. So it's bad. BAD. Blockade,
Got
attack,
you.
destroy. There you go.
Huh. Okay.
But the blockade
Um,
part is super important, and the B3 move hurt that her ability
got
to
you,
do
because you
that.
would idealistically you'd want to do that with your knight because the knight can still both block and attack. Right, I'm assuming. Okay.
Yes, yes, yeah. The knight is the
Okay.
best blockader. Yeah.
Okay, then let me ask you this relative to isolated queen pawns or just isolated pawns in general and that strategy. The There are courses that I've taken in the past, chessable courses that talk about playing with an isolated pawn or just stuff I've seen on YouTube and did not until this moment where you broke that down. And it's like all of a sudden I'm thinking of stuff from before that had no context. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Because they talked about there are players who do this on purpose. They purposely say, you know what, I'm gonna, play with an isolated queen pawn and I welcome it. And I just sort of said, that's not even an opening I ever will play. So I'm not gonna, that's just not, I have no interest in that. I'm never going to do that. But it sounds like tactically, this is a thing. This
Yeah.
is something that you can absolutely do. And it's, if you know what you're doing, it can be very annoying to your opponent. There's things that you can do. It's risky, but it sounds like it can also be effective. The fact that there are top players that were doing something like this, it just scared me, so I didn't want anything to do with it. But I figured I would, let me ask and say, okay, is this really a thing? Is this something you would ever do? How have you seen it? And how effective is it? Does it balance out? Do you have to be Kasparov in order for this to just to work out for you?
You mean to play
To be
against an isolated
effective,
pawn?
yeah, to have it as a weapon for you to say, you know
No,
what,
no,
I'm
no, no.
going out with the intent to have an isolated queen pawn because I know strategically how to make this effective.
Oh, from the other side, from the
From
defender's
the other
side.
side, yeah, if you're
Oh, right.
black saying as a tactic, I'm going to have this because I've got other things I can do while you're looking at that. I'm going to do some other things.
Yeah, well, we have the position on the board, and I don't think that black is going to be unhappy with this position right now.
No, that's exactly
Because,
what you were alluding to.
yeah, because they can play knight c6 and eventually push this pawn. So this is sort of the pros and cons of the isolated pawn, like this, the isolated queen pawn, is that yes, it's a long-term weakness. But in the short term, black has a pawn in the center and white does not. So
Mm,
black has more space. And because she can't go knight b3, well, not like that, knight b3,
yeah.
it's hard to keep that blockade. So black might be thinking, hey, if worse comes to worse, I'm going to push this pawn and trade it. So I won't have that weakness anymore. And okay, we also have rook c1. So the moves are coming in pretty fast. Actually, that's very dangerous for black. Oh, no, it's not so dangerous. I thought there might be some skewer action here on the rook, but the bishop guards
Yeah, but
c8.
the bishop guards that. Although, um, no, she can't do anything just yet.
Bishop
She can't even
a3 is
trade it.
probably the right move here.
Hmm.
Or maybe if we're worried about rook here, then maybe black should play bishop to b6. Although knight d7 is also a move. So there's lots of ways for black to handle this.
Hmm.
But just to finish my point, the other good thing for black is that, well, if their bishop wasn't attacked, let's say white just went bishop to e2, for example, this pawn helps protect e4, and so oftentimes you'll get a knight planting here. And white doesn't usually want to trade it, although sometimes they end up needing to because that knight is so strong, because then once again the pawn is no longer an
Mm.
isolated weakness. So the isolated queen pawn is not necessarily like a death knell on the
Yeah, I would say
position
it
for
does.
the pawn.
It sounds like
Yeah,
it has its advantages. Like I can
it
see
does.
where
Yeah.
like tactically you could like it looks like a weakness until it's not. And to your point, that's the only pawn in the center of the board is that one.
Mhm.
Huh. I don't like that she's not castled.
I think
I
she'll
also
castle
don't like
soon.
that we can't. Okay, all right.
I think she
I also
will
don't like
soon.
that we
Yeah,
can't play that bishop check anymore.
yeah, a6 was a good prophylactic move, but it also cost him a little bit of time. Bishop to
Hmm.
b6 was played. Yeah, that seems like a
Okay, that
reasonable
was what
move.
you called. Yeah.
Yeah, reasonable move. And I think she's going to be the problem for white, and she might be a little bit frustrated about this, is that this knight has nowhere good to go.
Right.
Can't go
And
here or
she also
here
like
or this. So
you can't attack the well, you know what? She could. I'm just trying to think of like I was thinking of something, but it doesn't work. There's there really is no getting rid of their light squared bishop just yet.
this one,
That's just going to be there. Yeah.
that's
I would
not
love to
true. I
be able
mean,
to
we
throw
could play
that
knight
check.
h4. Or what if we play knight h4?
I would say you could, but
Oh,
it's
I see.
a
Yeah.
yeah, it's a you're not getting it off the board, and uh, if you go there, the bishop just retreats. Um, you could. I'm almost wondering if you could sacrifice your own bishop for the uh for to win the rook.
How
Doesn't
exactly are you
have to
gonna do
take
that?
though. And he could. I mean, but
Wait,
if he doesn't take, you're just going to take him.
what move do you mean?
So, bishop d3, forcing the trade. You're sacrificing your own bishop in order
Oh, I see
to
what you're
throw
up
the
to.
rook up.
I
Yeah.
see. Ah, very
Yeah, I'm
sneaky.
just trying to think. But you know what though? He can block with the bishop. Bishop protects
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That
That
kills that. That's the only downside
maybe
is that the
that's
bishop
a
kills
good
that.
reason for him to go bishop to b6.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
if the bishop had gone somewhere else, maybe you're onto something. Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
Then it's just the sadness,
This is a little bit of
yeah.
chaos. It's
Yeah.
better for white, but yeah, yeah, this was unlikely. But yeah, there's that lingering. Anytime the king is not castled, there's always these lingering tactics. Now they exist for both sides. Neither side is
Hmm.
castled, so both have to be a little bit careful still, especially with their king. Wait, oh no, that didn't
Okay.
happen.
Oh, wait a
Sorry,
minute.
no,
I was
that
gonna
didn't
say,
happen.
did she do what I just said?
No,
It's
no,
like,
she's
no,
she's
Cameron.
thinking in this
No.
position. Bishop d3 might trying to trick is a blunder, but that's pretty easy to see. To be honest, that there's this block. I don't think she'll have a problem seeing that. And yeah, what else is there? There's some other moves
Oh, you know
like
what, Ian?
mhm.
I don't hate rerouting the knight that's on where's that knight? Uh
d2.
not D2, the other knight. Um I just can't, I don't have my glasses, so I just can't I can't see like F3. The
We got to get you
playing
memorizing the coordinates, Omar.
remember the board, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh
Yeah.
moving that knight so that the knight on D2 can take its spot.
Right. Yeah, and so knight e5 is a possible move, although then it might be answered by d4 right away.
Hmm.
Like the question is, where do you go with the knight? That's the problem. If you go
Right.
here, I don't know if they take or
Do you
not.
think? I don't think he
Maybe.
would take. Yeah,
I
I
think
really
they
don't think he would take.
think they might, because now that we both have the weak pawn.
Ah, fair point. What
Yeah.
about the other way? The other way
Well, if you go
to
over
attack
here,
that, and then, but now was it now that other knight's on the rim, and where is it? What is it doing? Yeah,
right, you could put your other knight here, but now that one's bad.
yeah. Now that one's just bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've improved my knight, so but I haven't. Yeah, no,
I mean,
you're absolutely
you
right.
could maybe play knight e5. this seems like a good move. And then go knight
And then with
f3.
that, yeah.
But still, um, pieces are going to come in here. Black's going to castle. They're going to play maybe knight d7. So I'm not sure it's really a big problem for
It,
black.
if he pushed that pawn, I think I would respond by playing the bishop to c4 after. Ooh, and in the end, it seems to like it.
There's a big problem here for black. I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head. It's all of a sudden very good for white. Why is that?
Why is that? Yeah, why is that good? I was like, what happened?
Well, I suspect that it's. Um, yeah, actually,
You
I'm
don't
not
have
really
to
sure.
take that either. I'm thinking
No, you don't have to take. You might be able to
you might be able to
push
push. Yeah.
because I want to. This isn't what it is, but well, the idea of pushing would be to get this move in, and after here, then we would need something.
Yeah.
Oh, we do have a move here. Yeah, we do. We have rook takes bishop, and the fork.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's nasty one.
Yeah.
But it's not even a huge advantage for white because after this here, the knight is trapped.
Where's it going? Yeah. That's it. Yeah. It's it's
So
it's it's brief. You'd almost have to have that bishop on c4 first, but then
uh
the
huh.
then the rook gets away.
Yeah, we don't have time to play bishop c4 first. Although
Yeah.
your idea to do it right now is also interesting. This move.
Yeah. I was saying instead of because now I'm just going to uh take that if he takes the pawn, then I'm just going to there's a bunch of ways you could do it. You're gonna I think it's so long as you can defend if he takes, which I can't imagine he wouldn't. That's my concern is like if you play that and then he takes, do we just throw the check in
Yeah.
with the bishop because he can't, just as like you said, it's an intermediary, and then when the king moves,
There we go.
yeah,
Probably
where's it
here.
go?
Take this.
Take that, yeah.
I mean, this is a total mess.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Total
yeah.
mess.
This is Omar chess is what this is.
We have an extra pawn, but it's a weakness, and
Yeah,
their king is in the center.
he's in the
But
center,
I
and now
honestly,
we just
I don't know.
we just get castled, and we hope for the best. There we go.
Yeah, I just hope for the best. I mean, honestly, the more I look at this, I don't really see what black is supposed to do. It feels like white has everything pretty protected pretty well. But we're not going to see this because she played knight d4.
Okay. Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
we briefly thought about this.
Yeah, but my thinking was that he would not take. Um,
I think he will.
just to have the thing you talked about because he's
Will he
not going to
take?
just
That's the
yeah he's
question.
not going to
Will he
retreat
take
that but he likes that bishop being right there. He really does,
with this
and I
bishop?
don't blame him. Yeah, I don't blame him
Yeah.
one single bit. So I'm
Well,
not
he
moving that.
well he
Beautiful.
could just play bishop g6 and be. Oh, there's a threat. What is
Oh,
it? Oh
what
no,
is
it
what
can't
is?
go.
Oh,
Oh, I
because that
forgot.
then.
Forgot about this one.
Well, he can still block it. Yeah, he can still block it. Oh,
But
but you know what? But that knight's gone.
the knight is gone. Yes.
Yeah, knight's
Thank you,
done.
Omar. Thank you. I was like, what is it? Yeah, we didn't have this move in the previous position, so
Yeah.
yeah, that this would be very good for white. Yeah, we're just winning a piece. If this happens. But actually, hold on. Wait a minute. What about this move? Because you are
So
pinned.
yeah. Do you just do you just take? You just say, all right, I'm gonna,
Maybe.
and then get your bishop out of there
Yeah.
because your king's now in this. He's never castling if you take, and then you get your bishop out of there.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Yeah, it's good. Very
Yeah, and
nice.
now that light square bishop points at nothing.
Yeah, so it
There's
probably means
zero
that
compensation for that.
J
Yeah,
Mastermind is right that black probably needs to take this knight. Because you
yeah.
don't really have another good alternative for this bishop. You don't want to go bishop d7. That sort of just gets in the way of your knight that might want to go there. I mean, maybe you could put it here, but
Hmm.
I'm not sure. Not sure about
He's
that.
thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, he should think here because it's not obvious what to do. Actually, it sort of is obvious. Like you just have to take the knight.
Just gotta take it. Yeah.
I think you just take the
So
knight.
don't even think about it. Just,
Yeah, and you
just
get a
looks like he did.
symmetrical position, but okay, let's see. I have knight d4. I don't have his next move yet. Oh, we have a couple
Yeah.
moves coming in
Couple
fast.
moves. Yeah.
So he probably
He
took and
took
then
and
she
she
took
took.
back, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, then we're gonna have this move. And so the pawn structure is pretty symmetrical. But the good news for Kamryn, one thing that I noticed just right away that I was worried about earlier is that the dark squares were weak, and that was going to be a problem for white with the dark squared bishop potentially.
Yeah.
But now that dark squared bishop's traded off, so that's good news.
Yep. And she has the
The
bishop
little
pair,
bit of
which
bad news is that it's much easier for black to attack this pawn, as he just played knight c6, than it is for us to attack the d5 pawn.
yes.
That's potentially a very big problem because we're about to get put on the defensive here. And how do we save this pawn? It's not an easy thing to do because if we go knight f3, there might be moves such as bishop e4 or bishop g4, trying to eliminate the knight and then taking here. So it's very tricky.
Would you just defend with the bishop?
Defend with the bishop? Yeah, we can look at this. After takes here. What do you do?
I think yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. You got to have
That's the problem.
follow
Yeah.
up for this.
Ooh.
Now, apparently
about,
there's something, but I don't know what it is.
What about defending the pawn with the dark squared bishop?
Yeah, that was another possibility.
Okay.
That was another possibility.
As opposed to the knight.
Right, but we should finish with this. Like, what is the move here for white to be okay? Because it looks bad at the moment. There's a threat to take the bishop, and black is up a pawn, at least for the moment. We can't get away with this, I don't think.
Yeah, because he just takes, right? Oh yeah, that's...
Well, he takes, and I want it to go here, but I think the knight c2.
But he has that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the issue. Knight c2. So if it wasn't for that check, we could get a little fancy. Maybe.
It'd be.
Yeah. Although actually, there's also this move, so none of it's working anyway. We take, but they save their knight.
Yeah.
Don't go pawn grabbing.
No, I don't like any of that.
This is a lesson that we talked about last night. You go pawn grabbing, you lose your knight. It's trapped.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I can't get out. So
I'm trying to
Don't do
think of like this looks very much like something I've done before. Like, oh, my whole heart just sinks when I see these things. All right, so in that position,
this is
it's just don't do that.
This
it sounded like just
Yeah, this is the game
thinking,
position.
man,
We
you
have to
just
save
move that
this.
bishop down and protect.
Yeah, maybe bishop e3 is the move to do. Just simple, keep the pawn protected. And the thing is, we talked a lot in the last game that we were looking at on momentum, and the momentum is in black's favor right now because they're developing new pieces, and we're just going back to defend against them. So, and like I said, this is a bigger weakness for us than this one is for black. That's the problem. It's already protected. And how do we even attack it? We don't have a way. This pawn dominates our knight right now, by the way. Can't go here or here.
I didn't even think of that. So I almost feel like it's just he seems perfectly fine to just keep his king in the center of the board because I think he wants that option you talked about of being able to like march that pawn down.
Which pawn? Oh, the H pawn?
Yeah, the H pawn. Having that option.
That was in a very different situation, actually. That was when the center was more blocked. Right now, there's two open files in the center of the board and two weaknesses in the center of the board as well. So there's no reason not to castle and bring the rook somewhere. You know, get that rook to E or D or something. And yeah,
if you're Kamryn, then once you get that pawn protected, are you just simplifying in terms of moves? Get your knight on a better square, get that bishop, light square bishop developed in castle.
Yeah, probably, and that's she's already played bishop e3 and black is already castled. So
okay,
this is we're about to see the answer to your question.
Okay, Yeah,
I think that white needs to get castled. I think that she needs to try to put some pressure back on this pawn.
yeah.
It's going to be difficult because
I
you have to,
almost want to move that knight to F3 and then reroute it to force the knight that is blocking the file to trade and get rid of our weakness.
so like knight here and here,
Yep.
trade
Force a
it.
trade. Yep. And then we take back with that pawn. I I just want that knight out of there. I don't like
Yeah,
knights.
the type of stuff I'm worried
Yeah.
about, a little bit worried about, is knight b4 and they come in like this
Ooh.
with a check.
Yeah, I don't, that's why I want to get rid of it because it's just and that you have to defend the other pawn now.
Right, a2 is also in danger, so
Yeah.
that's a issue. And the computers thought there was something even better for black, but knight b4 just that would scare me enough to not play knight f3.
Yeah. Don't do
So
this, but I
yeah,
have in positions like this just taken the knight with the rook. I fear them
oh,
that much. Don't ever do that. Anybody listening to this, don't do that. That is, you see the bar, but I'm afraid of knights. So I have absolutely done this and regretted it. But I just like, no, 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 because I've lost too many times. Like, like games for me at my level end on Royal Forks and or just which is not possible obviously here because the queens are off the board, but
yep,
I can't tell you how many games have just ended because I did not calculate where a knight could go.
yeah. We have bishop to e2 on the board,
Okay.
which is I think the right thing to do. This bishop
Yeah,
can come to
yeah. Do
f3
that.
actually and
Just
attack
yeah,
like
that can
this.
say yeah, that can come at any point in time.
I
Yeah,
think this
just
is what she should do. Although she can't play bishop f3 right away because then there's bishop d3 with stops our castling. So I
mm,
think she'll castle and then see what black does and maybe play bishop f3 after that.
okay.
But definitely white's pieces are a little bit more passive than black's pieces right now. That's why there's
Yeah.
an edge for black. Um, yeah, yeah. So I think she's gonna have to fight back. But for now, her position seems pretty solid. So I'm not too worried, to be honest. Not too worried about
Yeah.
this. By the way, Omar, your rook sacrifice idea now isn't a good idea, but these kind of moves crop up and are good more often than you might think.
Really?
Yeah, because
Listen, you can't
especially
encourage me with this kind of stuff.
I know it's a dangerous thing,
Hey,
but
don't tell me that's good because then I'll say,
well,
but you told me it was good, right?
in certain circumstances, right? If you can win another
Right.
pawn, if you can pick up this pawn or this pawn for it,
Ah,
and
I
then you're
got you.
very like because the thing is, you not only do you okay, let's do a move for black. Not only do you get a knight for the rook, but you also create two weaknesses. So
Mm,
if you're able to win one of them and then say bring a rook and start to pressure the other one and maybe eventually win it because it is a backwards pawn and it's blockaded, you get your opponent on the defensive. There can be merits to this. So I don't want you to just put it out of your mind like you could never do this. There's definitely
mm,
situations where it's a viable plan. Here it wouldn't make sense because also the we're not really in a such a desperate situation that we have to do it. By the way, I'm
yeah.
noticing that black should probably play rook e8, and I have a feeling this is why the computer likes white. Although maybe it's gonna hate me for this move. I don't know. It doesn't like it. But there's a
I mean,
little trap. The little trap is
yeah,
that
what were you
if
thinking?
we castle, then there's knight takes because it's pinned.
Uh-huh.
And I don't really understand why the computer's like, I don't care about this. I'm not sure what it is that it sees
I'm
white can do.
wondering, well,
It
okay,
looks
so let's
bad.
say you
It looks bad.
you don't have to take the knight,
We don't
but
have
he's
to, but then
coming
what do we
in.
do about
What do
this?
we do is the question. Um,
Well, let's just see if we
yeah,
take
let's see
rook
what
takes.
happens. All right, so you do that.
Now our knight's in danger.
I almost want to take that other knight.
Yeah, and I think if we do, then they just take this, and then
Take
they're
that.
threatening this
Yeah.
and this.
Yeah.
So this is probably no good. But white can do something else. It must be rook d2. Rook d1, I mean. Rook d1 like this. Yeah, rook d1 to protect.
Yeah,
And
protect.
our hope is that we do take the knight and then we go after the
And now
d5
you're
pawn.
getting, yeah, you're getting that.
Eventually try to get it back, but it still feels very dangerous for white. I mean, this knight is basically in a pin. This rook is very powerful. We can't really go king f1 ever because then there's bishop to d3 with all sorts of discovered attack threats.
Yeah.
And so I think I definitely prefer black here. But I guess maybe the computer sees enough compensation, but that's a bit of a stretch to me.
I'm looking at this, and there's a part of me that's like, okay, what if we were to
But we have
I'm
some
just trying to think of
moves.
the. Oh, do we have some moves?
We
Okay.
do have some moves, yeah. So maybe we should see
All right.
bishop here, rook a to c8. Okay.
Interesting.
Wait, what did
Okay.
I thought the computer was giving black a big advantage? Not big, but like a significant advantage. So rook a to c8. Okay, it's fine. And maybe black wants to move the knight somewhere. Maybe that's what they should have done
Ah,
now. Actually, maybe knight b4 was the move. Attack the pawn
and then yeah,
because you can't really move it. Then there's
can't really
knight
move
c2.
it. Yeah, because he's coming.
We'll
Yeah.
take it. This is what black should have done was knight b4. Ah, I see. And then we need some good move. Maybe we have to castle now.
Yeah,
But
because now he's not. I'm assuming
now,
he's just gonna. Yeah,
but we
now
just
he's
lose
gonna
the
do
pawn.
that.
Wait, so what
Yeah.
is the move? Maybe the move is a4? That doesn't look very good to me. No, not a4 because there's check. I need to stop guessing, but it's a bad situation for white. Yeah, it's already just bad.
Yeah.
Oh, he missed this move. This would have been a very big opportunity for him, actually. What
Ooh,
is what
yeah.
is the best? What's the best thing to do?
He may still do it, but I think to your point, yeah, the timing on that, that's a nasty move. That's a what do you
Yeah,
do kind of
yeah.
move.
Before
Yeah.
white gets castled,
Yeah.
because you want to play knight c2 with check in a lot of lines, so you do this before they castle. And now with the rook c8 move included, if she castles, knight b4 is a little bit less of an issue.
Yeah.
Maybe also a3 is a move. Probably a3 is a move to prevent it to begin with. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean the best move here is very hard to find. I don't even understand it now that I'm looking at it. But the best move here, well, first of all, the second best move is to castle and just let them take a2. The best move is to play knight f1.
Yeah. I don't, but like this, how?
Not what she
Why?
would want to do, right? This is not a move that
Yeah.
you were planning to do. It
Is again,
stops
is
her
it one of those
castling,
cases where it's the best of the bad moves you have left?
sort of.
Is it more of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's hard to see what the exact purpose is. Why are we doing this move?
Jay Mastermind is saying that we should play A3 there to I guess to prevent that very thing.
Yeah, a3 in this position is the best move because this knight b4 move is still a threat.
Right.
A3 is the move, and it feels slow, but this is so dangerous that we just need to do it. Just need to do it. But
Yeah, because
she
now that
played
knight's never.
castles. She
Yeah.
played castles.
Okay, so
Yeah.
all right, so it's not certainly not as much a concern as it was.
Well, we have a big problem. We'll have to keep an eye if he spots this because there's some hope,
She's
right?
gonna.
He didn't
I
play it
see
the
what you're
last
saying
time.
because she can win, or rather, he can win that. I don't. If she doesn't play it, and he plays the knight move, knight b4, it sort of forces. He's going to have that file.
The
It
C file.
forces her to trade the rooks, and then she's passive, and he wins uh, the pawn anyway.
Well, you can play rook a1, but it's very
Fair point.
passive,
Yeah, but it's very passive, and
and not
now
what you want to do.
this is not. Yeah, this was not what we
This
wanted.
is, I believe, this is the best line for white at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, if black plays knight before, this is the best line, but it's not something that any player would want to do. I think if he plays knight before, she'll think for a long time because she's going to realize there's just not a good
Yeah.
reply to this. And so here's the problem. Ready? The problem is that in all these variations, you can't really ever move this pawn because after you move the pawn, there's knight c2 anyway, even though it's not check. We're still
Right.
attacking the pawn and we're attacking this.
Mm.
So now if you go like a4, you save the pawn. This is a really, really bad weakness on e3. Well, that's not even the best move. Oh, wow. Okay, so it's...
Oh, jeez.
That's a little bit hard to realize because if I was black in this position, I would just want to take this. That I would be all over that.
Well, yeah, I'm like, what in the world is better than that?
Well, maybe you just build the pressure with a move like rook e8.
Uh,
Because now you're threatening to take it and then win the pawn immediately. And white can't simply move the bishop because we'll take. And white also can't defend the bishop again. So it's a problem.
uh, uh,
Yeah, and also rook fe8 may work as well. Yeah, it's even better because let's say, for example, h3, not a good move, but the point I believe is after knight takes. If we take with the pawn, you can't take right away because then we take.
no,
Oh no, it's
take
protected.
that.
Oh, it's protected. Wait a minute. There's a lot going on
But you
here.
can
This
also,
is
but you
attacked.
can take that bishop. Yeah, you can take that.
Well, you can, but the other bishop is hanging. First, we take this with
Fair
check.
point. Yeah,
Oh, you can't take it because you need
can't
the rook
take
to guard
it. Yeah.
this. You know, it's just bad. Yeah. I thought this was an in-between move, but this just wins a rook. Yeah, and then this is hanging, although the bishop can back up, but this is a losing
Yeah.
position for white.
That's yeah.
All the tactics are working out for black in these positions. So yeah, getting the last piece activated is good. This would be a very tough situation for her. She'll have to avoid this. Because the computer evaluation says it's just 0.5 or 0.7 for black, but it's really much worse than that. Practically to play a position like this is really, really difficult. So
Yeah.
so
He did something. She's writing.
he played knight g4. Okay, that's a bit of a relief. Yeah, he missed the best. Well, so he's trying to do something similar. He's doing something similar where he wants to do this trade, but he missed that he could do it this way. And by the way, I think if we go back quickly, knight b4, just one last thing I wanted to say. If white plays a4, you do go knight c2 anyway. And white actually doesn't have a good way to prevent knight takes here, even though we're not even double attacked. Because if you move the bishop away, we take on d4.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. so even if you
just...
played a4 and not a3, the knight still comes here, and you can't even prevent this. Yeah, it's painful. But okay, we get a little reprieve because he went knight g4.
Okay.
And I suspect to avoid this, we need to take.
Yeah.
I think we need to take.
Yeah, he's doing okay. I didn't even think about that. He's still thinking about that pawn.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Now, the thing is, if we take, it's opposite color bishops here on the board, so we have this new imbalance. We lost our bishop pair, by the way, with that exchange. So that's not great. But the computer says even we have a symmetrical pawn structure, we have opposite color bishops, we have a high likelihood of rook trades on the c file at some point. And so those rooks start to go off the board, maybe the knights trade, and suddenly draw. So we could see the game go in a direction like that. A little bit has to happen for those trades to occur, but that could be on the horizon. And so I don't know what her mindset is right now. I mean, obviously she would love to win, and she's also the higher rated player. Actually, that might be really important here because being outrating him by 300 points or so, she's going to feel like she needs to play for a win here, and you don't take the knight if you're playing for a win.
Fair point.
So this is a little bit of a tough situation. You don't really want to take the knight because it's heading towards a draw, but you want to take the knight because you don't want to lose. you don't want to lose you don't want to ignore it and then let black take and you have a weak pawn on e3 for the rest of the game. So there's not really a great choice here.
You're saying that you're thinking it's a draw? Because I feel like she has to take that knight.
Well, she probably does need to take the knight.
Okay.
But my point is that there's some reasons why she doesn't want to take the knight.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If she were to get a
I got
draw
my
in this
Beth Harmon
game,
mug, by the way. I don't know if you can
oh
see it.
man, where'd you get that? I want that. I want one
Well,
of those.
it's actually just a sticker, but
Oh, okay, okay. But
so
where'd you get that? I want Beth Harmon sticker.
I don't know. Actually, don't know where it came from now that you mention it. Yeah.
I guess I could look it up, couldn't I? I could probably just do that. Um,
I got a whole bunch of stickers like this. They're pretty high quality stickers for my new chess studio that
oh,
I
for
yeah.
your
I
new
have a
chess
for the kids. I have a little
sanctuary.
yeah yeah
Yeah,
my chess cave.
yeah, your chess cave. Yeah,
But I
which
have
is very nice, by the
yeah,
way. If
thank
people
you.
haven't seen it,
Yeah, but I have this little drawer that is like a little prize drawer in there for like the kids. But the stickers are actually pretty nice. I was like, oh, I like that
you're like, no,
sticker.
I think I will keep
I,
these. Oh,
I
hey,
like
I
that
meant to
sticker.
ask you this yesterday. I
Okay.
noticed that the trophy that you had in the back that I coveted is now gone.
This one
So
and the
I wanted to ask you about that.
like where?
The one
Right
that
here?
sat in your backdrop. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a cup that
Oh
I
yeah.
know I believe it was like the reward for tournament you were running.
Um, it's a tournament that I have planned for the future. Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
So we'll see. I got to figure out the details still. But
Got you.
yeah, the plan is for that to be like my premier tournament that I'll be running. I wear lots of
Got it.
hats, everybody. I'm a tournament director. I'm a commentator, teacher, all this stuff. In fact, earlier
Yes.
today I was running a scholastic chess tournament. So
Oh wow.
did that. Came here.
Did
Now I'm doing
that
commentary.
not doing commentary? Yeah, I'm not mad
Yeah.
at it. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think she's still thinking.
Yeah, because it's not an easy choice, as I mentioned. You don't really want to give up your bishop pair, but you also don't really want this, and you don't want to move the bishop away and lose your pawn. So it feels like there's no good option. I think the computer's going to say we just have to take it. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. Okay.
Could you just move the knight? Knight F3? I know, and I know that we don't want to give up the bishop pair, but if he takes, we just take with the pawn.
Yeah,
And then again, I
there's
don't love that, but
well, there's an interesting point to all of this, which is that without the dark squared bishop for black, and actually we've simplified quite a bit by now. Maybe this pawn is just not so easy for black to win.
because my immediate thought is to reroute that. I've been wanting to get that knight to E5 for a while, and if we move
Well,
there, then uh, the black's light squared bishop is becomes a target for our rook.
I see. Yeah, yeah. Just discovered attack on the bishop.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that might be a little bit of a threat right now to play knight e5. Um, like if something like this, we go knight e5. Let's say they take. First things first, we got to take
Do that. Yeah. Boom.
And
Yeah.
if rook takes, then we play rook takes f5, and then we're actually better because
Mm.
we're gonna win that d5 pawn. So there's a lot of merit to this. Yeah. Now they should probably take with the bishop,
Ah.
and then things are a little bit less clear. I guess we take, and after rook takes,
Yeah, that's not as it's not as lovely as it was.
well,
I guess you can move
it's
the rook to protect, I guess.
it's not winning. We don't want to be
Yeah.
too. No, we can't go here. I don't think because of this move.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that at all.
Yeah,
I don't like it anymore.
but we can be aggressive and go something like rook c1, perhaps rook c1, and then
Ah.
attacking this bishop.
And just say, okay, yeah, you can take the pawn all you want. I'm going to
Well,
take your bishop with
it's going to
check.
be mate. Well, you can
Oh
take
yeah, I'm sorry. With
please take it.
checkmate. Yeah,
Please take it.
please
Yeah.
take that so that I can, yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That's a puzzle mate there. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what?
And
And that's so me. That's so. Oh, I just wanted to win the bishop. That's all I was looking to do.
yeah. So they move
And then I'm gonna
away,
pretend
but
like I knew it was made all along. I knew it was made.
Maybe we
meant
have
to do
we
that.
have moves like king f2. We moves like rook c7.
Well, he did something. What did he do?
We have knight g4 and she played rook
Oh, okay. Yeah,
c5.
they're just trading stuff now.
Yeah, this move is not bad. Not bad at all. Oh, and now the trade. So, okay, I think the point is that we can
Okay, so
actually allow
it's
this
almost like
trade.
what we talked about. Yeah.
Very similar, yeah. And she's going after this pawn, which black can protect, but maybe that starts to put them a little bit on the defensive, actually. No, I like this. I like what she did. Rook c5 was a clever move. Yeah, because
Ah,
you don't want to get into a passive position where you're just defending all the time. Suddenly she's reversed things a little bit, and well, she has a little edge. Look at that. Yeah, rook c5 was a good move.
nice.
And this trade, you might say, well, this pawn is really weak, and it is. But I think there's just not enough pieces left on the board for black to really try to win it. I mean, first of
Got
all,
you.
you gotta. It's blockaded. It is blockaded. That's the first step, right? Blockade, attack, then destroy.
Yeah.
But the problem for black is that it's not really blockaded if you play something like here. At some point, we can play e4. Not now
Right.
because we lose this pawn, but maybe we pin the knight somehow and then we get e4, and eventually we'll get this move. But there's also just no way to attack the pawn. You can't put a rook on the file; it's blocked. This bishop can never attack it, and the knight is too far away to attack it. So even the king coming to f2 at some moment might be enough just to make that pawn safe forever. And in that
Mm.
case, then it's not a big burden for white. It becomes a burden for the defender if they need to use their pieces like their rooks and their bishops and their knights or their queen to guard those weak pawns. Then it's like you're wasting all your firepower. But if she can just play king f2 in a position like this, then yeah, maybe there's not much black can do to actually win it. So it's interesting. She allowed this. It wasn't forced at all. And bishop e6 is played, and rook
Okay.
fc1. Yeah, and
Okay.
suddenly white
This
is
is
better. Yeah, white's better now.
I was literally just thinking this because I want to get that knight to e5. I want it even more now, seeing this position.
Yeah, the thing is that once your knight goes to e5, maybe we would like to be there, but the timing has to be right. Because if the knight just magically went to e5 right now, black could just take it. And that would ruin our pawns when we take it back.
Oh, you know what? Yeah,
We're
because
not
I keep
pinning it.
forgetting that the bishop is also guarding the square I want to get to. Yeah.
So,
Um,
so if if we take this, do your sacrifice and get our knight to e5, that's when you can sacrifice in exchange. Is if, say, our knight gets really, really powerful and we're winning all these pawns on c6 and a6, but we have a knight on outpost and the rook on f8 can't get in the game. We're not
hmm,
sacrificing in exchange here. That's totally unnecessary. But sometimes that is what you do. When you
I got you.
sacrifice in exchange, you get a pawn, but you might also get some other compensation, like a really powerful knight on the outpost square. I don't think we're going to need to do that. By the way, there's a threat here that I just noticed.
Hmm.
Okay, chat, Omar, anybody? Let's just say black plays rook e8. And I really hope I'm right about this. Black plays rook e8.
Wait a minute.
What's
Before you do it, turn
Yep.
the eval off. That way we
Okay.
just we don't know.
Okay. Yeah, black
All
plays
right.
rook
So,
e8. What is the move for
yep.
white? Move for white. I think it's a winning move.
Mm.
I've been missing things though this whole time, so I hope I'm not wrong.
Oh man. What in the world? What in the world are you seeing here? This is comes my question.
Yeah, this is easy to fall for
This
too, because rook e8 is
um
such sort of like a natural move. Yeah, my idea is to play bishop takes a6.
Huh.
because the pawn is overloaded a little bit. Yeah, this actually
Hmm.
looks pretty good. Because now, if you take, first of all, I just take this and we're up a pawn.
Right.
Simple as that. Plus, this is weak.
Got it.
Still a little tricky, though. This is why I wasn't so 100% sure because,
Yeah.
maybe the bishop
Because
is out
then
of the
you're,
way. There's a threat here.
yeah.
But, we just do this. Attacking
Mm.
everything. And even if you
Uh,
save the bishop, you can never really. Oh, actually, you can take this. I thought there was back rank mate, but there's not because you have a block. But any endgame like this, where white has pass pawn and an extra one over
it's yeah.
here,
That's just
we're winning
that's game
this.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, we're winning this. So
I like it.
yeah, that's I think is a threat that's
That's
at least lingering in the position. I don't know if there's another move black can do here, like knight takes d4. I was thinking about, which does have a fork threat. If we were to take this pawn, I think maybe they fork us.
so you almost have to take that knight
Yeah,
first.
so we take the knight and then, well, they have to take our bishop at
They
this
have to
point.
take that. Yeah. And so
Well, they could take here first, but yeah, let's say they take this, and we didn't actually win a pawn
yeah,
in
this
this line,
isn't.
but I have a feeling that this endgame is better for white because there are two big weaknesses here. We have a weakness, but that bishop can never target it. And it's knight versus bishop. It's not opposite color bishops. We avoid opposite color bishops because we're playing for the win. And we can eventually create an outside pass pawn on the queen side. So this feels like, even though we don't win a pawn, it feels like a very reasonable way for white to try to win
Yeah.
in the end game. Yeah. Now let's go back because black is still thinking, and let's see if any of that was right. Was any of that right? Okay, if rook e8, we do have bishop takes a6. Yes. And knight takes d4 is the best move. In fact, it's the only move to not just be completely losing.
Got it.
And then after rook takes e8 or e takes d4, I think it transposes. Oh, they have to take with the bishop. Interesting. I did not realize that. What did I miss here? I thought they could take with the rook, but they can't
But you know
because.
what? Because you can.
Oh, I see. Do you see it, Omar? What do we do here? Because I made a
Because
big
you're.
mistake. I said we take and then they take and we play that end game, which we can do and we are better,
Yeah.
but only by a little bit. There's a way to be much better here.
Huh.
I'm
Um.
way to be much better.
Oh man, you move the bishop to d3. I think. No.
We desperado it.
What?
Yeah, because we were gonna
Oh,
take
because you're
this,
gonna win either way.
lose
Got you.
it,
Yeah,
so we
yeah,
might as
yeah.
well get
All
the
right. Because now
pawn.
you won the pawn.
So we got the same ending, but they don't
Got
have
you.
this pawn here anymore. So now it's just two connected pass pawns. We don't even have to do the work
Oh,
to make.
geez.
Yeah.
Oh, that's. I didn't even think of that. That's just and where's that pawn going? Never. It's never advancing.
Right, black's pawn doesn't go anywhere. So
Yeah, it
this
doesn't go
is this
anywhere.
is
It's
winning.
never
Okay,
getting. Yeah.
so that means that there's a detail here in this position where when we take on c8, they have to take with the bishop. And I guess we don't. Yeah, why don't we have the same desperado actually? Oh, we don't have the same desperado because there's a knight fork. Yeah, can't do this because of here.
Gotcha.
Now we lose.
Now we
So
lose. Yeah. Now
we
it's
don't want
like.
that.
Yeah. So you have
So then we
to.
have to take, and they can take, and it's the same ending, but with rooks on the board still.
Gotcha.
Yeah, very interesting. I think that rooks on the board make it harder to win for white.
I would agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's counterplay. Now there is a way to bring the rook in and attack the knight
Yeah.
and attack the pawn. There's if the knight ever moves, there's a rook e4. They have a way to attack this pawn. Okay, they can't do it while we're aiming at the bishop, but
Right.
these are things
Like
that
as you
black can
said,
try to
please
do.
do it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So, like for example, let's say we go rook c5, bishop g4.
Mm.
And And if we take, there's a very annoying check, I think. Let's see. Is this working? Very annoying check. Is it good?
That's very good. Um, where are you going? You're coming
Well,
up,
you're
and
probably
then
going
that.
out because if you go
Yeah, you're going
here,
out.
okay,
Yeah.
we can't forget about back rank mate, so you can't play
Ah,
bishop to
fair point.
e2 right away. This is the
Right.
threat. But okay, black does something like this. We get our king out, but there's check and take the pawn.
Yeah.
Black's pieces are very active in this position, so the fact we have an extra pawn is nice, but it's not going to last. And yeah, that rook coming in is making all sorts of complications that we just don't really
Yeah.
want. But yeah, so this would be the way for black to go, to take with the bishop. But nevertheless, bishop a6 is a threat right now. In this position, bishop takes a6 is the threat. And so he needs to do something about that, probably moving the knight. Knight e7, I would guess, is the move. So just get it out of the way. And I think black is fine simplifying more. Like if we trade off all the rooks, I don't think black can complain too much about that. But
No.
there is still hope for Kamryn even if all the rooks come off, because something like this, let's just say we trade everything, right? Okay, computer says just pretty much dead even, but
Yep.
this bishop doesn't have any targets. This bishop does because it can go here and here. And so there's a plan for white to say, let's trade all the rooks, and I'm going to go after this pawn with everything I got. I'll put my bishop on f3. Maybe I'll go knight b1, knight c3, attack it again. And at least put black on the defensive. The problem is, it's a lot of moves to do that, and black can even just, in the meantime, bring their king. So
Yeah.
we're not going to win the pawn. That's why this position is just even. Maybe we could even force a trade.
I would say we should do it, just to have that.
Yeah,
But
we have a
now,
pass pawn. That's something. But the thing
yeah.
is that black's pieces are in a good spot to sort of just keep it from really being able to advance. Okay, but he's thinking for a while. I think he's feeling the pressure now. All of a sudden, like this came out of nowhere, by the way. If we just back up a few moves before this,
Yeah, he was comfortable.
it was black with the pressure. In fact, knight b4 was much better. And knight b4, by the
Yeah.
way, prevents rook c5. We can't go rook c5 because they just take. And then knight c2. So that was sort of a big miss by him. He needed to play knight b4. He should have seen that, to be honest, because these squares, the weak pawn, the c2 square, looks very inviting for this kind of move. So he should have seen it. But instead, he went knight g4, and then, well, Kamryn didn't hesitate to do this.
No, because I'm pretty sure she saw it.
Attack the weakness.
Yeah.
Yeah, she might have been worried about knight b4. I would have been a little bit worried about it too. And after knight e3, she's not worried about the e-pawn at all. She's just going
Yeah.
for her own attack. Bishop a6. I think if she didn't see it when she played rook c1, because rook c1 is a natural move anyway, but if she didn't see it, she surely sees it by now, I think. Yeah. But it's easy to miss because, I mean, it just looks pretty well protected. It's not every day you get to do this kind of tactic.
Yeah, I like the ones you came up with that sec. I'm curious though, because that's something that probably doesn't enter my mind if I'm in this position in a tournament game. I'm probably going to play bishop f3 and
Yeah.
then push e4.
Yeah, bishop f3 feels like the more natural thing to do because rooks, and also this is another reason why black might miss it. They might be more focused on white having just attacked this pawn and the idea that they could attack it a second time. And so if he's worried about that, he might play knight e7, and even if not even seeing bishop takes a6 as a possibility. I mean, honestly, they should both be seeing it now. I think black is probably
He
thinking
just
about how
did
to
something.
deal with it.
He's writing down.
Oh,
I wonder what he did.
As we speak, knight e7, he played the best move. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, knight e7. That was a good move. But black lost their momentum. He probably was not too happy to have to do this move. Now the question is, should Kamryn trade all the rooks? Should we just leave it as is and let black trade one pair of rooks? I think she probably has a lot of choices here.
What do you
Play.
do here?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe just bishop to f3 at this point. We're not going to get the sacrifice, so there's no reason for the bishop to be aiming at that pawn anymore.
Right.
I don't think. But there's a lot of possibilities. I mean, rook c7 might be an idea. It's just to sort of say,
And it's going to
please,
be even more
please take
annoying.
me, please take
Yeah.
me. I'll just attack everything. Yeah, it's annoying for black, right? Because they can't take this
Yeah.
rook, and then it's just sort of planted in the middle of their position. That'd be a little bit annoying. But we could also leave the rook on c5, and if black ever takes it, maybe we consider taking back with the pawn. And having like a pawn majority 3 versus 2 on the queen side. That's certainly a possibility as well.
I like that very much.
Yeah, and
Very
we
much.
could play
Yeah.
bishop f3 and just build pressure here in the meantime. And then, of course, she can decide to go for the endgame and trade all the rooks. That, to me, has very little risk for her. But honestly, there's not a lot of risk for her in this position anyway.
Got you.
She might be a little worried about knight f5. Knight f5 attacking the pawns. This may actually be the real reason that black played this move. Because there is still this pawn weakness on e3, but honestly, knight f5, we just play king f2. There's no danger there.
Mm.
The king guards everything on its own. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of possibilities for her here. We might get a big think at this point. It might be a decent time for us to take a quick break, Omar.
It's good. You know what? And I'm not going to turn my camera off this time because I know I jacked everything up the last time I did it. So yeah, good call. You want
Yeah,
to do
and
like 5 minutes?
he gets up to take a
And
break.
he understands. He's
That's
like,
the
oh, if they're
signal.
taking a break, then I'm going to take a break
We're gonna
too.
take a break.
Yeah.
So okay, everybody, we'll be back in a couple
We'll be right
minutes.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
real quick.
All right. All right, I know it's gotten serious because Kamryn has removed the jacket. Oh, Krauser, appreciate that. It's actually been a minute since Ian and I have had a chance to really stream the way that we used to. But every time we do it, it's like, riding a bike. And I was just talking about hey Jay Mastermind. I was just reading a comment, first time chat from Krauser 428.
Hmm.
And they were saying, "Hey, I can't believe it took me this long to follow the chess game." And I was laughing, and I said, "Well, it's actually been a minute, since
Yeah.
since we're doing our flow." But I said, "But it's like riding a bike. We pick right back up."
Yeah. Thanks
Okay,
a
and G
lot
Mastermind's
for
telling me
the
the
shout
moves
out.
that we made.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know
So okay,
why
rook
my
trade.
board doesn't update automatically, but sorry about that. But yes, there have been some moves, and so bishop f3. I think we
Okay.
predicted this move as an
Yep.
idea for white. Rook takes e5, rook takes e5, and rook c8. Yeah, so we have
Okay. It's about what we expected.
pretty even position, to be honest, and
Yeah.
it's very likely that I think it's very likely that Cameron will take, and we'll go into this endgame something like rook c8.
Do you take with the knight here or the bishop?
I'm thinking knight because the
Oh, you
knight
gotta take
can.
with the knight because you're protecting that pawn.
Well, the knight was protecting it also,
Oh,
actually.
and I was pregnant anyway. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. So,
But I think that there's some argument to be made that you could bring the knight to d6, and that's a good square for it. But white can also play the move e4, and we might get some endgame like this. Probably knight takes, where we have the pass pawn, but it's hard to advance it. Yeah, we looked at this position a little bit before the break.
yeah.
Just briefly, we touched on it. We can bring our king very easily, which is nice. I think I prefer white, to be honest. Prefer white here a little bit.
Mm.
It's not so obvious where black should put their knight. I guess, well, because they can't go knight d6 anymore, but I guess they could go knight e7, knight d5 maybe, or bishop d5. There's a lot of options.
I like for our knight in this position, knight c5.
Yeah, and white has some ideas. Besides trying to advance the pawn, there's knight c5. I think that's a very good observation because, yeah, there's weakness. Maybe we take this bishop. Actually, knight c5 would win a pawn. I don't even see how they
I was gonna
save
say
this
I would
pawn.
think it's yeah, because I'm wondering like okay, like yeah, where's that going? That was
Right,
my initial thought, but
right.
yeah, that pawn's like yes, give it to me.
And then, let's see, the other detail is that I don't know if they can play bishop d5 because of knight f6 check. It's a very nice move.
Ooh.
We're gonna take it. They can. We're not winning anything,
Not
but
winning, but
we
still, it's a
pawns are very damaged,
yeah.
and we have a bishop versus
Never
knight.
have to, and they've got to think about that their pawn. They have to move it. And then you fork them. I'm thinking, don't you? If they move that pawn,
Ah, yes, maybe we are winning a pawn actually. Oh well, if they move the pawn, yes, we can fork. That would be bad, but they can play knight d6 and guard it.
fair point.
This is
Yeah,
still very much a battle, but white's in the driver's seat for sure. White's in
sure.
the driver's seat here.
Yeah, because none of their pawns are going to promote. None of them.
Oh, even if we lost this pawn for free, we could afford to lose this pawn for free, and we're in good shape. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. White wins this.
White wins. Well, yeah, White's likely going to win. I don't know if it's so easy, but it's we're in good shape at this point. We're definitely not really in much danger of losing. But of course, you always have to be careful when there are knights on the board.
Right.
Some tricky forks.
Wonder if she just did.
She played b4, so she's saying, I don't want to trade rooks, but if you want to trade rooks,
Listen, I'm not
be
gonna do
my
it, but
guest.
listen, you do
Yeah,
it.
yeah. If this
If they
happens, then she
trade,
can
which I
trade.
don't think he's going to,
Well, I
which
think I think he
okay, I just
might.
you just answered my question. You're taking back with the D pawn,
I think
not
so
the B pawn.
because I actually like the square for the knight,
Gotcha. Okay.
and from there we can play a4 and b5 and c6, and we can start to make
Gotcha.
some progress with our pieces. with our pawns on the queen side. Like the knight supports the
Ah, sure.
pawns very nicely this way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
You just
if
reminded me of something. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say if the rooks trade, and assuming Kamryn is still trying to play for a win, she has to be thinking very carefully. I just bring us back to this position that we had a moment ago with this whole thing with e4 and knight takes e4. She has to think very carefully about what trade she wants to do or doesn't want to do. And actually, maybe any trade is sort of okay. It's not opposite color bishops anymore. There's not going to be an opposite color bishop ending. We're probably okay with light squared bishop versus light squared bishop. We're probably happy with that as white. We're also probably happy with knight versus bishop. And we're happy with bishop versus knight, like in the variation of the way we continued this. This endgame we're happy with, bishop versus knight. The one that might be least likely to lead to a win for white would be knight versus knight. So we probably just don't want
Mm,
to trade bishop for bishop so easily.
got you. They did something.
Yeah.
That's
So
his move again. Yeah. Oh, he did trade. Okay.
yeah, it's a tiny edge for her. Not really anything much. But I think the plan for white is pretty clear.
Yeah, I think you just spelled it out. It's a yeah. You literally just did this, and so now I know where that knight should go.
Yes, I think the
Yeah.
d4 square is calling for the knight.
Yeah, because then okay, so if you get the knight there, or I should say, when you get the knight there, there's really nothing to prevent it. Um, where where do you think that that bishop is going to go? Does he just retreat it all the way?
Where's the bishop going to go? Yeah. Well, the bishop might stay where it is.
No, he may just say,
May
"I'm
just leave
not
it
going to.
there.
You're not going to take it."
Well, we might take it. I mean, that would lead to
Mm,
the bishop versus knight ending. I think it depends a little bit on what black's doing in the meantime. I mean, to be honest, they can probably start to bring the king.
gotcha. Yeah, I think at this point, to
Probably
your
start to
point,
bring
it's
that guy.
what's the rule you told me? It's when the material is at a certain number less than, that's when you can activate the king.
Oh, that's not really my rule.
Oh,
I don't
okay. I
know. I
thought
don't
that
know
was
if I have a specific number rule, but if I mean just like in general, when the queens are off the board and it feels safe for your king, like they just don't have checkmating material, then yeah, kings can come
got
out.
you.
So in this position, yeah, definitely both sides could think about using the kings. But I think first Kamryn would like to get the knight here as soon as possible.
Right.
So for example, let's say king comes, we go here. Maybe we get a knight c6 move. This is definitely
Got you. Just to kind of
likely.
yeah.
So we have to protect king e7 when we go here. Now, probably the best thing for black to do is just king d7, protect everything. So whatever we take, the king just takes it back. And the thing is, there's no. I mean, the computer's saying better for white, but I really don't think that is anything too dangerous for black at this point because they're using their king and we are not. So, um, yeah, this kind of position would be pretty hard for white to win. But if black were to take this knight, for example, we always have some threats of a breakthrough on the queen side. Always.
Mm.
And this bishop's a little bit tied down guarding
Kind of
this
tie it down to
pawn.
that. Yeah, that's it's
So
yeah.
this feels like there's more winning chances. Okay, we have a mistake alert in the chat. This might be the first mistake of the game because, to be honest, so far it's been pretty accurate. Although black missed that one chance for knight b4 earlier. So we got to go back to the game. D takes c5 happened, and then knight f5. Aha, knight f5. So why is this a mistake?
Interesting. I guess because you can attack the knight with the pawn.
Well, the knight is... Oh, with e4?
Yeah, because if he takes, you take, and then you're winning potentially b7.
Yeah, that actually looks very dangerous for black. E4, we trade off our bad pawn for their bad pawn,
Mm-hmm.
but we're threatening this pawn, and of course if we
Putting
get
that
that pawn,
pawn.
we're going after this one. This is bad for them. Yeah, and they can
Yeah.
protect, but then we have... I think we have knight c4 and then knight b6.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's very dangerous for black. So you're spot on here, Omar.
It's like I said twice a day. This was the one. And there's another one. You know.
In fact, we also have another possibility. I don't know if it works, but we maybe even taking the knight. Not as good. Yeah, this if we had our knight already here and we could do this move, then it's
You could do
winning.
that. Yeah.
But I was thinking maybe it's even winning anyway because after this, maybe we have a4. It's a threat. It would be to play
Mm,
b5
mm.
and keep marching through. And I don't think they can take this because then we take. But apparently they can do this and be okay. So what do I know? It
Wow.
feels dangerous for black.
Yeah.
It might be that the king gets back in time at this point. The king runs over. So
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But then you're going to just get all his other pawns.
not so fast, not so easy, I don't think. Yeah. If the king comes in and gets this pawn, for example, then this pawn runs. So
Ah, that's a fair
I'm not
point.
sure our knight has time to run to the other side. And taking all three of those pawns is going to take a lot of moves.
Fair.
But this is pretty far away. Now we're pretty deep down the rabbit hole, and I don't think that we need to take the knight at all. The knight actually is a little bit misplaced on f5. I think we just go knight c4 right away, threatening knight b6, and this is just a lot easier. Like a
Yeah.
lot easier. Because they can't stop knight b6. There's no way for the knight to make a threat. And they're just going to lose the b7 pawn, then probably the a6 pawn on top of it, and that's a lot easier. Yeah, a lot easier. So, yeah, e4 is very interesting. I guess king f2 is actually the only move, though. So why...
Huh.
She played king f2. Look at that. That's
Why is that better?
yeah, it's an impressive move that she did this. It's very patient. It's not going for the forced win. Forced win would be to try to play e4. But maybe... What is the move that black can do here? Because I think taking is not good. Yeah, taking is really bad. But oh, maybe the knight goes back to e7 and just defends it. Yeah, this maybe just
There it is.
neutralizes anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So e4
that's
was
an eagle eye,
tempting, but
man.
doesn't it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
King
unfortunately.
F2, like who sees that but her? Right. Like that's impressive.
Well,
That
if you
didn't even cross my mind. Like,
well,
no, taking that pawn.
if you
Right.
realize that e4 doesn't lead to some sort of
Yeah.
forced win, then you have to protect your pawn, and then king f2 is really the only other move. So it's not too hard in that sense. It's just easy to get distracted by this other move.
Yeah, the minute you move the knight and like you see like, oh wait, it's um it can be defended. Well, then to that end, why is this winning for white as opposed to like, well, I guess because you can't take that pawn now? Is that really what it is? Like, why is that? Why is that an exclam for white?
Yeah, it was the only move to sort of maintain her advantage. Is the reason?
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean that's what it means. It's not obvious that that was the only move, but e4 I guess simplified too much. Or I guess e4 would have worked if black had taken right away, but if they just defend
Got
their
it.
pawn on d5, then we're really not making much progress. But if we play just king f2, I think the main point is that the knight on f5 is just misplaced. Like, what's it actually doing? It's attacking the pawn on e3, but that pawn is safe. It's protected. By the way, you can't play d4. Black would probably like to trade the pawns, but you cannot do this because I think I'll just take, and then after knight takes, we'll win this pawn. And
Got
it's
you.
really bad because you're also very likely
Gonna
going to
lose
get
that
this
one too.
other pawn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's some complications like knight c2, but I think we give this pawn away. And then we take this one. As long as we get the connected pass pawns, we're in really good shape. All right, what's chat saying about knight h4? What are you saying, J Mastermind? Where
Oh,
knight
it's saying why it
h4?
draws.
I'm not sure what move you're talking about when they can play knight h4.
Maybe back where the knight was misplaced. Uh, Knight h4 attacks the bishop.
Yeah, but well, if knight h4 in this position,
It's
I mean,
annoying.
it's well, I'm
It's so
actually
annoying.
inclined to be fine with this endgame because if I get knight d4 in, I
You
always
still
have
have all
these
your
threats of.
connected yeah, you're
I might
still
even just
running
take
up the
this
board.
at some point if the
Yeah.
black king is far away enough and I break through on the queen side and get a queen. Also, don't have a weakness here anymore, so d4 becomes a
Yeah.
good spot for a king as well. I don't mind this. Okay, but we do have a move, king f8. Makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Yeah, he's just like, no, I'm just gonna just get in there.
Well, it makes sense, but you know what? The knight on f5 is still an awkward spot. And she's made a move already. Knight b3. Yeah, this
Oh,
is.
she's already coming.
Yeah, actually, there's a threat to play knight a5 in the position. That's a big time threat. Big time threat. Knight a5 just wins this pawn. There's no way to protect
Yeah.
it because if you ever go bishop c8, we can just take this pawn. So you can't protect it with your bishop. So now black needs to have some prophylaxis. They also have to see knight a5 is coming, not knight d4. Although
Right.
knight d4 might also be an idea. But I think now black has to play knight e7. Not a move that they really want to do because I think the king wanted to come this way. And then it's like, well, what was the point of doing this? White got to go
Yeah.
king here and knight here, and they did one move with their king, and that's it. So white's position is improving a lot faster than black's position is improving if they have to play knight e7, and I think they do. I think knight e7
Yeah,
might
exactly.
even be the only move to hold
That
on
I
to their
think
pawn.
takes away knight a5, but it
Yeah,
introduces knight d4.
yeah. So knight e7, we might play knight a5 anyway, just to force the bishop back. Now the point is that this is protected.
Yeah.
Oh, and we have e4 in this position. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like, but then that pawn just run, but it doesn't. It's not getting anywhere.
No, our king is close enough, and the
Yeah,
point is whether the pawn takes or if it runs, we're just winning this pawn anyway.
got you.
Yeah, this is the whole idea. If we can win the b7 pawn, this pawn is a monster. So it's a big deal. Black is on the defensive, and knight e7 is the move, but white is better. And knight d4 is possible, and it's also pretty good. Kamryn will play one of these two moves and be just fine.
Got you.
Like pretty
You
big
seem to like knight
advantage
a5
there.
though.
I like knight a5 because it gets black into a very passive situation. They have to play knight c6. But knight c6 has its own issues. Knight c6, we can take, and this pawn and this pawn are forever targets for our bishop. This is not a endgame that black wants to go into when its bishops of same color, but your pawns are on the color of the bishop because it means our bishop has targets.
Right.
It has targets like this. We have all sorts of
And
ways
right
to attack
now,
these
yeah,
pawns. And what can this bishop attack? Everything
that
else
bishop
is
can't
on
attack
dark
anything.
squares.
Yeah,
Yeah, it can't
and
attack
the
anything.
second, yeah, it's too easy for her to just she can defend just by moving them to dark squares.
Right, so it means just
Literally,
that
just two of her pawns.
black is on the
Yeah,
defensive forever, and maybe they
yeah,
hold, but it's not an easy task.
and
Not an
none of
easy
those
task.
other pawns are going to promote. Not one.
All right, and we have a second mistake. King e7. She played knight a5.
Okay. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, man. Kamryn's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, she's all
Yeah,
over him right now.
yeah, yeah.
And she played it really fast in 36 seconds too. Oh boy.
That is, yeah. Like that's not her. That Kamryn, even when she knows what she's gonna do, will, you know, milk, the time cow, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So now it's just winning a pawn. And it's a
Yeah,
really crucial pawn. If black saves the b7 pawn, we take this.
yeah.
And
And
actually
then that's
we're
gonna
winning
fall.
a second pawn too. So this
Yeah.
is this is really bad. And so I don't see what black is going to do to save. We're just going to take this.
I think he's attacking the bishop with a pawn.
Eh?
I
With the
think he
knight,
played
with the
knight
knight.
h4.
Knight
Yeah.
h4 with the knight, yeah.
Sorry, what did I say? Pawn?
You said
I'm
with the
too
pawn, but
excited.
that is
Yeah.
a knight. I can
That is a
confirm
knight.
that is a
That
knight.
is a knight. That is not a pawn. It's a knight. I don't know that that's well, I see
What do you do
based
here,
on
Omar?
everything that we were just talking about, but it's I'm like I don't hate that, but I don't know that it helps him. I think it just delays because that pawn is still going to fall, that B7 pawn.
The b7 pawn is going to fall, and that's really all
Yeah.
that matters. We don't care
Yeah.
if the bishop's
We don't care
trade. We don't
about
care
that
if the
knight.
knight's trade.
Yeah.
b7 pawn is crucial because it's holding everything else back.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's taking the pawn pretty
He's like, yeah,
quickly.
you can have my bishop all you want, sir.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, he's taking it very fast. I don't.
yeah.
So he's making a big mistake moving so quickly here. I know the position is bad for him, but he needs to slow down. He's going into all these trades and simplifying into a worse position. She should just recapture with the pawn. Or, I mean, even the king is probably good, but okay, king. There's one little trap. You play here, and if you take the pawn, there's a fork.
Ooh. Yeah, we
Don't
don't
fall
want
for
any of
this.
that.
Don't fall for
Yeah.
this. Although even in this position,
He's still,
no, it's winning for black. But like this isn't so simple. Oh, it is simple because they can go bishop c6. Yeah, we have a lot of pawns, but if they
yeah.
can play bishop c6
But
just
but
in
if they can do
time,
that, it's
if we
a
do something
yeah.
like this, we suddenly we're maybe in
So
business. With it.
we're yeah,
Even
it's not
this,
as
the
lovely.
bishop blockades the pawns, so it's just not good. So there's one little trick. I don't think she should
Oh,
take with the king.
yeah,
She took with the pawn.
yeah. She's
Yeah,
a pawn.
she
Yeah.
took with the pawn. Okay, very good.
So yeah. So now it's Miller time.
Yeah, at the rate that they're
Yeah.
at the rate that they're moving, this is going to be over pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the position is just getting worse and worse for black the more he rushes. And there might not have really been any way to save this because that b7 pawn was probably a goner anyway, but
Yeah.
I mean, he should have been looking for some ideas. Something more clever than trading the knight for the bishop. That doesn't really bother us, I don't think.
Yeah. I'm just realizing this. She's +1. And as I'm looking at things, um, yeah, now it's just a matter of figuring out.
+1. No Omar, it's +2.5.
Oh, I was looking at material.
Yeah, material it's +1, but in position
But the
there's
positioning, it's yeah,
very dangerous pawns on the
yeah.
queen side. Yeah. Okay, king d7.
That's what I was thinking. But now the knight has its choice of where it wants to go.
Knight has its choice. I think the best choice is probably to take things easy for a moment and just play knight a5.
Hmm.
Although I don't see anything wrong with
I don't say I don't mind
knight
knight
d6.
d6 either.
The only thing about knight d6 is you don't really have a place for the knight to go after that.
Oh, that's a fair point.
And she went knight a5, and the knight could reroute back to d4. There's no reason why we can't go take the b7 pawn and then also go back to d4. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's where,
Just
like,
gonna work my
remember
way
a few
around
moves
and
ago,
then
there was a
get
choice. Do
yeah.
we go knight a5 and take the pawn, or do we play knight d4?
Yeah.
And Kamryn says, well, why not both?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comes back around, he gets there, and you take that bishop or it figures out where it's gonna go and
I mean,
then it's just
honestly, this is a position that I would probably resign against
yeah, a
any
player
strong
rated
player.
300 points higher than me,
Yeah.
which GG. Yeah.
And the main reason is because White's position is so solid. There are no weaknesses that black can target, and it's just impossible to create problems for white. So there's very little chance of some sort of comeback here. And like I said, she can just take her time, move the knight to d4. Maybe she could even just bring the king to d4. This is not unreasonable either.
Yeah.
Play moves like
Oh, I
a3,
didn't think about
just so
that. You
there's
did
no
say like
threat.
that's a nice spot for yeah.
Yeah, just play like a3, bring the king to d4, and just see what black is going to do. Honestly, there's also a4. If she wants to be a little faster about things, you can play a4 and b5 and just get those pawns moving a lot quicker. But there's also no reason to rush because there's really nothing black can do. I sort of like a4 actually now that I look at it a little bit more, but yeah, that seems like a very strong move. We can get our two pawns here and here,
Yeah.
and then just bring the king in, and then start to make more progress.
If you're black, do you okay, and he's continuing to move the king, interestingly enough. I would think at some point he would just start pawn storming on the other side. Not that I think it's going to matter, but I get that
Yeah.
because yeah, that you want to be where those pawns are going to advance. So I get that.
Oh yeah. No, black's king is doing its job right now. It's close enough to guard this pawn if it gets in danger.
Yeah.
It's preventing us really from marching too far forward. And but white just needs to be patient here. We have the win. We have the superior position. We don't want to rush things too much.
Right.
And there's really not a danger of black's pawns breaking through on the king side, I don't think.
No.
It's a possibility, but we just keep our king sort of close. We don't have to go crazy.
I do
But
like your
yeah,
idea of getting the king to d4.
yeah, me too.
And I kind of like that, even though it's on the rim, I kind of like that knight there because it's taking away b7. And I don't see, it's also taking away c6. The king is right there, but he can't go anywhere. He
So
just can hang out right where he is.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so, that white king can just take its time, get over there, and then it's like, okay, at some point, you're going to have to, those pawns on, F, G, and H are going to vanish. And then I think it's resign time.
Yeah, I mean, we could
In
try to go
fact,
after the king side
you can go
pawns,
after
but
those with the king. Yeah, because
if
it's
black doesn't
a,
move them, though, it's not so easy to go after them. If he starts
fair
pushing them
point.
down the board, maybe we go after them with our king. But if they don't move them, if they just shuffle the king back and forth, maybe something like this, it's a little bit harder to make progress. We want to play in these end games with pawns, lots of pawns. We want to play on the side of the board. We want to be advancing on the side of the board where we have the
We have
advantage
the
in
advantage.
material.
Yeah.
So we have more
Do you
pawns on the queen
play?
side. We want to go on the queen side.
You can play anything here. Do you play a3 now, or do you move that king now?
I think I might just play a3,
Okay.
just so I don't fall for any tricks where they sack this pawn and take this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and by the way, I don't think we can really play a4 in this position because then there's bishop d7.
Yeah.
That was the
I
advantage
would
of
want
king
all those on
c7.
dark squares,
Yeah.
for that very reason.
And there's also the move knight b3 here, which is a very good move. With the idea that if the king looks like it's coming in, actually it's not.
It's like no, no,
Yep.
sir.
You go back.
Yeah. And did you go right on back?
Then
And
we can play a4
okay.
and b5 and start to make some
Yeah.
progress there. And by the way, like, okay, they can do this, but now we just maintain these pawns here. Black can never do anything here. We got it all covered. And you could even march the king all the way this way if you need to. The knight is close enough, so if black does somehow create a passed pawn, the knight comes back and stops it. So this is a great knight versus the bishop is fine, but
The
it's just the
bishops.
problem
Yeah.
is the pawns are so powerful. And we don't have to advance them until we're really ready to do it.
You just did something.
Yeah,
They
bishop
both did something.
d7. So she played a3. She did play a3. Look at that. Yeah,
Okay.
very patient move. Very patient move. Very good move. Probably not totally necessary, but in fact, it was the best move. Okay, the computer changing
Okay.
its mind a little bit. A3, F4 was also good. I don't know why we need to play F4, but knight B3 was also a move. So yeah, we looked at a3 and knight b3. She played a3, bishop d7, and now king g3. I don't know if I like king g3 as much.
Oh, I don't like coming that way. No, I don't like that.
It's just the wrong direction.
Yeah, I don't like that. I want Kamryn to move that back and then go the other way. I don't
It
think that's allowed though.
it doesn't really matter. Like the thing is, she could waste 10 moves with her king right now, and it's not going to change the
And it's not
evaluation.
gonna matter. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a fair
so
point. Yeah,
the game is in
that's
the
saying something
bag.
when your position's
Yeah,
that good that it's like, oh, I made a mistake. Oh no.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the one annoying thing that black could do would be to put the bishop on a4 and stop our knight b3, knight d4 maneuver.
Ooh,
That's a little irritating.
that's irritating. I don't mind that if I'm black in this position.
Yeah, if I was black, this is what I would play just
That's
to
exactly what yeah,
keep the
just to keep,
blockade,
yeah,
guard this.
yep, we're gonna sit here for a while. We're gonna
Yep.
use all 40 of these minutes, you know.
Yeah, and then if she try the thing is like if she's trying to come in with the king on f4, f6 guards this, and if you try to go here, I
Yeah,
just check you, and then I go back.
yeah, and go back.
And so at some point
Yeah,
she's
that's
gonna have
just
to come back
annoying
this
at this
way.
point. And then she's gonna have to come back that
Whoop.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, back around the other way. So um, yeah, I'm not sure why she played king g3 because to be honest, it's just the wrong side of the board for her to play on. She should be trying to do something on the queen side. But it doesn't really change the evaluation. I think she should slow down here and really figure out her plan.
Yeah. That king move says,
Well, she might have a
well,
plan,
again,
but
you may have a plan, but I don't know if it's the right one. Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Also,
so I
I've
should
got the
clarify.
advantage of a bar telling me, and a title player, she does not have any of this, at her
No, but
disposal.
she surely knows that she's better. It's very clear.
Yeah.
You have the extra pawn, and you have a fortress, so there's nothing black can do.
Yeah.
I would sit here and think about what's the most efficient, safest way for me to win, and it's not king g3, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
It's getting that knight to a better square in the center of the board where it does the same thing, but it even does even more. Yeah, so I would bring the knight to d4,
Yeah, that's
but
what I'm thinking too. I think
it's not the
but
end
to
of the
your
world.
point, if that bishop goes there, then, well, then what?
Goes where?
If that bishop
Oh,
goes
a4, yeah.
to,
Bishop
yeah,
a4. Yeah, okay, so we can put some moves on the board. How about king f4, and then if f6, maybe there's this e4 move.
yeah,
This is
let's
possible.
because that's its only threat at the moment.
You know, if he goes here, he's very likely just going to lose that pawn for free. So I think black has to trade, and we can take either way. Maybe just take with the king, and our king is getting into the position actually. You can never check because we just simplify. And that's the really big problem that black has here is that they can never allow the bishop to get traded for the knight because the king and pawn ending is hopeless.
Yeah.
Now we can
Now you can
just
just,
come in after
just
these
do what you
guys.
want. Yeah.
Yeah, and also we can just play. I mean, the king has to stay here, stopping this pawn, but we can also play a4 if we want to. We don't have to, but so that way, if the king ever
Yeah.
does
He's
move away, we
never,
push
yeah.
again. So it's just there's nothing black can do except wait. So king g3 f6 was made right away. Yeah, that move makes sense too, but now there is this knight maneuver.
Yeah.
If we want it, I think we do. Um, but there's also king f4, e4 type
Well, I
moves.
have to imagine that that's why she moved that king that way, was to play that. I
Yeah,
don't understand it otherwise.
I think.
Why you move further away from the pawn can,
Oh,
that D pawn?
yeah. You know what? The thing is, she could have brought the king to d4. King on d4 is attacking this pawn. Black can't even protect it
Right.
because the second
Yeah.
you go like bishop here, we're gonna just maneuver our knight around and get it attacking that pawn also.
Right.
I think we eventually win that pawn. I like okay. Let's say we do it now, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say black waits because there's not really much they can do anyway. Okay, they wait. I waited too long, maybe. Okay, here we go. Now we bring the knight to c3. That's where we have to get so we can attack this pawn. But I also want to be guarding this square so we can push our pawns. So this is the
Gotcha.
right approach. We attack this weakness. Now we go knight here. And then what's the route? We do like this, this, this. Black can't do anything. We go here. They can do this move, fine. But this is why I want the knight here. Wait. They can only wait. And then now they're really in zugzwang. They have to just keep going back and forth. We play a4, b5. And once the king has to move away, we win that pawn, and the rest is history. But she could definitely figure out this plan. It's pretty straightforward. It just went the wrong way with the king, and now she just has to backtrack, go the other way.
Yeah.
And this is the easy way to win. It might not be the most efficient, but it's the easiest way. And I don't think there's much black can do. If they start pushing the pawns, they don't really get that far. So all black can really do is wait and wait and wait.
Gotcha.
Don't think he's very happy with his position. He's sitting back.
No,
like
no,
it's,
he looks
don't
very
want to be
sad.
here
Though.
anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Just want to go home.
Yeah, don't want to look at this position anymore. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough
Yeah.
because there's not much to do. This is not the actual game.
Yeah, we were just
but,
evaluating some options. Yeah.
But this is a very easy situation that could arise. Takes a bunch of moves, but it's just pretty hopeless for black, to be honest. Okay, so this is the position. And I'm sure there are other plans to win, too. Like, just sticking the knight on d4 is a good start. For example, we go knight b3.
She just did something. I was gonna say to me, knight B3 just kind of screamed to be played.
Yeah, and, what can
Yeah.
black do? This similar, just going back and forth. She played knight b3.
Nice.
So we
And
might
that's
get
gonna
this.
just
But
yeah,
then,
that just prevents that pawn coming down, which I
yeah, this pawn can never move.
yeah.
And then
And if he moves the other pawn, then
what are the
which I don't think they're going to do anyway. You just lose it.
Yeah, which pawn, Omar?
I'm sorry. The A pawn.
Yeah, they can
That's
never
not
do
going
this.
anywhere.
Actually, if they push the a pawn, we might not even take it. We might just push and get two.
Let's just push. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's just like yeah. Like thank you.
because it's actually harder to
And
make progress with three isolated pawns like that. In some weird way, it's even though two of them are extra. But yeah, so if there's not really much black can do, but then actually it's a little bit tricky to see how white can improve from here because you don't have d4 for the king. I like the king d4 knight c3 configuration.
Yeah.
In this position, I think what white needs to do to win is march the king over to b3, and maybe there's other ways to win too, and then be able to play a4 and then b5, and then we're going. That's how we make progress here. So, she's back to the right track, and I like that she spent almost 4 minutes on this move because, yeah, she really needed to figure out how do I get my knight to a better square, and then how do I improve from there. I really like this position, this endgame, actually, because it's pretty instructive. Yeah. Where black really just has to wait, and it's up to white to figure out what's the winning combination, what's the winning plan. And yeah, this whole maneuver is nice, and bringing the white king to the right spot is important too.
You know what? Now that I'm looking at it in, I think she put the king on G3 just to have another defender so that the pawn storm doesn't work.
Oops, sorry. Yeah, but that's being a little bit too cautious.
Too cautious. Yeah. But
Yeah.
as I'm looking at it, I'm like, why would if I did that? What would be my justification? And it's just I don't want those going anywhere. And especially if the plan was always to reroute the knight to D4.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
now
we can
it's
absolutely
yeah,
reroute the knight to d4 first, but then after that, she is going to. I think she's going to need to bring the king at some
bring
point,
the king back around. Yeah,
or
agreed.
play e4 somehow. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, the king is going to have to come.
that's an interesting move for the bishop, but it's essentially what you just said. It's just going to have to shuffle.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no
there's nothing else
targets.
for him to do.
There's no
Yeah, I think if she
targets.
goes knight d4 now,
She did.
as she has, he's got to shuffle now to defend e6. Because if he doesn't, well then, that G pawn is going to go away.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to do that. He's either got to
Right.
defend that or yeah, I think that's it. I think that's his move.
Bishop d7.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's just nothing black can do. Bishop d7. You can shuffle the king. You can shuffle the bishop. It's not going to change anything. But
Yeah.
Kamryn has to figure out the breakthrough.
Yeah. At any point, from where the king is, do you push e4 here? Is that in your mind at all?
It's in my mind, but it's not really necessary. I'm not sure it even
Fair.
changes anything, to be honest. Because with
No, you're
the,
right.
there was the
There's
one plan
no, yeah,
earlier. Yeah, there was the one plan earlier where we had the king here and the knight attacking on
yeah,
d5. We tried to win this pawn, which I still think we could still change our mind and do that plan. There's nothing black can do
yeah,
to stop us. But she's going for a different plan, I think, which is to advance like this.
yeah. I think he's just defending. Now that I'm looking at it, he's just preventing b5 with
Yes.
that move.
Yeah, b5
Yeah,
is prevented, and a4 is also prevented.
yeah,
And so that's like the breakthrough is how do we keep going on the queen side where we have our pawn majority? We have to get a4 in, and the way to do that is to bring the king. Another way to do it might be to play knight e2, knight c3. Like let's say something like this. If you try to bring the king, I just block it out again. And yeah, it's less accurate because if we go here, I thought now we have enough support to play b5, but actually then we lose this pawn.
he
So
does that pawn. Yeah,
so we still have to bring the king around, and then we can do it. Yeah, it's the same plan actually, except trying. I tried to do it without the king on d4, but it looks like maybe we're gonna have to do it anyway. So, yeah.
I was looking at in the actual live position my
Which played bishop f7, by the way.
okay. Was thinking
Oh, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. Yeah.
oh, what do you see?
Well, bishop f7 is just it no longer blockades these pawns, so we can play a4.
Gotcha.
It just made our life a whole lot easier. Just a4.
Gotcha. Yeah, he needed to stay on that diagonal. But I get it. He's protecting G7 because I've been looking at G7.
G7?
But it's yeah.
Oh,
Because
because
if he
of
doesn't,
this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Right. Right.
I mean, and I was still tempted to play knight F5, but like the fact that I want material tells me that I should push A4 and just go with the plan that works.
Yeah, now is the
As
time
as
to
opposed
play
to
a4 for sure.
yeah,
And
those pawns aren't
obviously you
doing
could.
anything.
Oh,
They're
she
not
played
going
h4.
anywhere. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Well, it's just a totally unnecessary move. I'm not sure what Kamryn is worried about or what her plan is, but this fits with the king g3 and moving the knight towards the center, but it's the wrong plan. It's just in the end games you have to go with. I mean, nothing's really wrong, right?
Eval seems to like it a lot.
Yeah, right.
Eval's like, no, I like this.
Because we could march our king all the way over to a1 and march it to h1 and then march it back to here again and still be winning. Like we could do all these moves. It doesn't matter. And so any move is going to be still very good for white,
Ah,
unless we
fair.
blunder
Yeah.
something, right?
Yeah.
But the winning plan does not involve a breakthrough on the king side, I don't think.
Do you think maybe she's just waiting him out?
Well, he might get frustrated, yeah. Like, it's kind of nice if the bishop goes back to g8, I suppose. That might be not the only move, but g6 is possible. But yeah, if the bishop goes back, then maybe we start to advance our pawns and we're a little bit faster. There's no bishop coming to e8 anytime soon. So he's
Yeah.
played g6. Yeah. Not much he can do, and now there's not really much more that she can do on the king side, I don't think. There never really was much danger for black on the king side, to be honest, besides this knight fork idea earlier.
Right.
And now, yeah, I mean, just go on the side, everybody. For the folks at home,
Right.
play on
For
the
those of you
side
playing the home game.
where you have
Yeah.
like the majority. That's where you want to make progress
Yeah.
because playing on this side, like black has 3 pawns versus the 2, and we're not breaking through. They have more pawns than us there. So if you want to finish this off, it's over here with these pawns.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and she might have to realize that pretty soon. She played. What did she play? King G4. Okay, it's still the wrong direction. Wrong direction.
It's
Should
like
be fine still.
I do what I want.
Do what I
Move my
want.
king. I move my king further away.
Yeah.
Do what I
The
want
thing
to
is,
do.
like, black does not need to be making any pawn moves here. But, I mean, he can. He can play H5. I don't
I'm
know. See a
curious what
pawn
she
with H5.
sees. What is it that she's looking to do over there?
Well, she's just making life a lot harder for herself, to be honest.
Gotcha.
Not a lot harder. I mean, it's just, there's no risk. There's really just no risk. I was just trying to think, is there even a way that she could get her king into like some sort of weird mating net where the bishop checks her on the diagonal like this? But that's not even really possible either, so at least I don't see a way.
The only thing I can think of is that she's forcing him to make pawn moves, and when he does, she can march up. I mean, she can never really. If he goes to those light squares, though, she can never get any of those pawns. She
Well, he's not
could,
really forcing pawn moves. He didn't have to play g6, and he doesn't have to play h5. He could have just left the pawns like this and been
and
fine
been fine. Yeah.
on that side of the board. There's not really a way for white to force weaknesses over here. The pawns, 3 pawns together like that are strong. So it's just I don't know. It's not really
Yeah,
dangerous
I
for
don't
black.
see, yeah, as I'm looking at it, it's anything she does on that side just creates opportunities for black.
Yeah, the kind of mate I was envisioning was something like h5, king f4, and then put the bishop where the king is and checkmate this way. Kind of a nice checkmate, but that's not happening. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a way to even. I'm just trying to think like, is there a way that somehow white can mess this up? And I just don't think there is a way. You can't really get lulled into some weird checkmate like that.
No, no, I think
Um.
it's
Okay, let me just try to construct something really weird, like bishop here. Say
yeah.
this, here, check, and you're still winning because you can just do this. But if that knight was, oh, and
Or
also
I'm
the
thinking
pawn's
you could
hanging, so
just
the
take
pawn's
that
just hanging.
pawn. Yeah, you
Yeah,
just
so
take the
there's not,
pawn.
there's not even. Okay, the king would have to be on f7, and then this would be a mate. So you'd have to do like, I don't know, yeah, this. You have to ignore it. Kamryn would have to
I feel like
ignore
you
it.
almost
Maybe
have to
she
get black 2 moves in a row or
starts
something,
going
right?
over here or something.
Right.
Black goes here. She's like, okay, we're gonna get a queen. This move happens, and then she'd also have to go here, and then you lose.
Yeah. And then with the evals,
It's actually a pretty brutal checkmate. Like, look at these pawns, all playing an important role
yeah.
in the
Oh, that's
mate.
rough.
Yeah.
That's in
Okay.
my
Yeah.
nightmares. That's where that's
Yeah.
how that ends for me. Oh, that's
A lot would have to go wrong for this to happen, but Black has made the
yeah.
first
Oh,
step.
I'd find a way. I'd find a way to get myself into that position.
He's made the first step, but it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. But see, this is why she should have taken the opportunity to play a4 because now, once again, that's blocked.
Yeah.
So there's no progress here. This is the Black's pawns just guard everything. You can't do anything there. She might get tempted by this knight check, and I really think she has to be very careful about that. This knight check, because it looks like maybe we can go knight f8 and start to go after another pawn. We don't want to get this pawn because
No, that's
then
yeah, yeah.
you're walking on the edge, and
Hmm.
yeah, you get this. Okay, it's all winning for white. There's not. I'm just trying to get a pass pawn for black, but this pawn is faster. Okay, we don't have to go with the bishop, obviously. We can go somewhere with it. And it's a
Yeah.
race. It is a race. And I don't think white wants to let this turn into a race. Why would you?
No.
But it's just one tempo. One tempo away from black being okay, but no, we have plenty of moves here that stop
Yeah.
the pawn. So I mean, queen here, knight check
You could
goes
also
away.
just check the king, I'm thinking,
Yeah, we can
with the
also
queen.
go here.
Yeah.
So it's not fast enough, but this is the sort of thing if she gets too distracted over here and allows the king in after those pawns, you never know.
Yeah.
It's the one way I could picture things go a little bit wrong. She's still playing on the king side though, which it's just really she's not going to be able to break through over there unless black overreacts, and this is not an overreaction. This is just the right move to do. And she's going to have to back up. Moves have been made. Yeah, we're on it. Moves have been made. Kamryn's going to win this game. I think I can say that pretty confidently. Not be wrong. And she's going to finish the tournament with 4 out of 5.
That's
I
not
think
bad.
she had a rough tournament, maybe her last tournament. So
Yeah.
coming in here and doing well is surely going to be a relief.
Yeah. 4 out of 5. That's not bad at all.
Yeah. A couple of her opponents at least have been lower rated than her, but still, get the job done. F5, huh? F5 by white. Yeah. I'll check you. Or not. I guess I don't actually have to do anything. I keep forgetting that black just doesn't have to respond to any of this. And could probably just go back with the bishop, to be honest. Although they start to run out of waiting moves. But yeah, it's just no threats.
I think if you do that and they don't take, um, then you're going to do that knight check, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, probably the knight check, but then we get into this race scenario where suddenly
Yeah. Now you're
going
there.
here, and this is like the
Yeah.
only way that she could lose this game. Still winning for white, but you might need to go knight d4.
Yeah.
Because if you go here,
Yeah.
it
Everything we just
allows this
talked
with
about.
check. What's even worse?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's even worse. Because you just lose a pawn for nothing. I can go here.
Yeah. And now it's cautionary tale.
I could also play. So the really interesting thing is that the knight is trapped. I could play g5.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Where's it going?
Knight is just trapped actually, and then this is how white loses also. The knight is dominated
Yeah.
by the
Not
bishop.
going anywhere for the bishop. Yep.
H5, H4, G4,
Yep. And
is
literally
all
everything we
very
have,
dangerous.
our entire house collapses.
Now
Yep.
black is winning. So she does have to be careful. You don't want to go grabbing pawns over here with the knight and get trapped. Yeah, this is actually a not too crazy scenario. This could happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's a possibility. If she jumps in here, the king does this, and if you think, okay, I'm going to go here and win a pawn, of course.
Yeah, that knight just needs to keep hanging out where it is.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious you
doing
don't
its
want to just
job.
give up the f5 pawn with check. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a little dicey. Now you have to be really careful as white because I mean, this might already be a bit of a threat. This might just be a threat right now. And you can play a4. Or you can't play a4. Wow, that's...
Why does it hate that?
Yeah, there's some not so obvious tricks here. Maybe h5 is a threat. Nope, not h5. I was thinking here and takes, but no, it's okay. We can go into the pin because we have this.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not sure why suddenly black is still losing, but they can put up a fight here. I don't know what the move is, though. What is the move? No, there's not. I was trying to think. Oh, maybe there is this move. Oh, this is a very interesting move.
Hmm.
No, it doesn't work. I was thinking pawn takes and then king here. And there's some awkwardness because you're threatening to take and then take this with check.
Yeah.
Getting too complicated. It's too complicated.
I would concur.
It's still winning for white, of course, but we don't want to take these unnecessary risks. So we have
No,
bishop
simple
d7
chess.
and we have f5. We do have this move.
Huh.
Okay.
Seems like she's just determined to get that bishop off the board.
Yeah, black should just not respond to this move.
And Jay Mastermind's laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's she's taking some unnecessary risks here. This whole time we could have just been going on the queen side, and now it's still obviously much better for white, but it starts to get dicey. It starts to get dicey with some of these complicated variations and some
Yeah, he's got
unexpected
time to
pins.
just to think about other stuff.
Well, I mean, basically, it's come down to, yeah, right. Like he now maybe start to think, oh, I have some resources, right?
Yeah.
And
And
because,
to your point, it looks like he just ignored it.
yeah, that wouldn't
I think he
surprise me.
went to A4.
Well, a4 I don't like. I think keeping the pin is the right thing to do. He played king b7.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay. King b7.
Ooh.
I don't know if we can play c6 or not. That's an interesting move.
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll look at that in a second. I wanted to make the point, though, that in this position, Kamryn can do whatever she wants because all of her pieces are on dark squares, and the light square bishop just can never attack anything. So one good thing about this is just like, look, none of these are targets
Yeah.
for the bishop. But the second you play f5,
Now
you're
you're
putting
giving
yourself
it.
into a pin, and there's a target on f5.
Yeah.
So now you have to defend this pawn. If black doesn't take
Right.
it, you have to defend this pawn now, and
Yeah. It's just move your
it
king.
makes it harder. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not going anywhere. Nothing's happening over there.
So it's not problematic yet, but one or two little slips and it could become a big
Yeah.
problem. One missed like h5 timely h5 check or something like that. You never know. But also like now we can't move our knight because they just
Yeah.
take it with check. So we can't move our knight, can't really move our king. I guess we can go king f4 and then take. Yeah, king f4 and then take on g6 is what she'll need to do. King b7, king f4 is probably just the simplest thing to do. Get out of the pin. We got ourselves in the pin, but we can get right out again. So that's why it's not like... and she played king f4. Yeah,
Okay.
she played king f4. Okay, good. So we're still fine. I wasn't really doubting it. I just was pointing out that
I just don't like it. Yeah.
there's some unnecessary risk
yeah.
happening here.
Yeah.
But it's all under control still. It's very much under control. I was very curious if white could play c6 if the king and pawn ending is winning. And it probably is, but it's yeah. Oh, did you see that?
No, the
Did you
eval
see
was
the
like,
mark?
no, I don't know. But then it's like, oh, I think
It was
I do
almost
know.
like at a draw,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh yes, actually you are winning. But this is a really unnecessary risk that she should not have played, and she didn't. But it was possible, and then probably a4 because you don't want this king coming in. So
Yeah.
play a4. And actually, black can't really. It's still sort of paralyzed because you can't bring the king over to help on the other side of the board. We break through at some point.
Right.
And then we sort of just have our way with the other side of the board. We could take this. Whatever black does, we take. Oh, that wasn't right.
Yeah. Then
Okay, I thought it was that simple, but it's not that simple. Okay. It's not that simple. What I wanted to do was, after takes, maybe play h5, but it might be just simplifying a bit too much. Because there's d4. Oh no, it's not
Wait, it
d4.
seems to love that.
Well, you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to play king here and then take this. But black is not fast enough because we play b5 first. And this position's winning for white. It can never take this pawn because then this one runs.
Right.
And we can go and just take this pawn, and then our king can come over and help the pawns. Yeah. So, but I still don't know what is the win here. What is the win in this position? And we have some
I think
moves
you
in the
just
actual
had it,
game,
didn't
so
you?
we'll go back in a minute, but it's just king f4, a waiting move. And it's the only move.
Hmm.
And after king c6, maybe now we do something fancy. Oh, it's doing like some weird king maneuvers. King f3, I don't really know. Yeah. This is a very tricky king and pawn ending. Somehow it's winning for white. We could probably spend a lot of time on it, to be honest. But we do have moves, so or at least one move. She played king f4 and bishop e8.
Okay, he's just shuffling at this point.
Yeah, honestly, just going back to this for 1 second, this is like a really interesting endgame to figure out what are the plans here. How do we break through eventually? And the computer's not very helpful here because it just gives like all sorts of moves and that aren't getting to the point fast enough. Because white's sort of in a position where they don't have to do anything for a while if they don't want to. And it's just like, oh yeah, king g3, king g4, king f3, they're all winning. but but this isn't a plan. These are moves, and then what's the plan eventually that we have to do? Because
Hmm.
theoretically, whatever the plan is, we can play any of these moves and then do the plan later. So it doesn't tell you what the plan is. So it'd be interesting to spend some time to really work this out. Anybody that wants to practice endgames, this is a good position to take and try to put it on a board and just think about it for a while, 15, 20 minutes if you need to, and just figure out, like, okay, what are the clues to the plans here? Honestly, at a glance, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, this one's
Because
tough.
black is just going to go like this and this and this. And if we bring our king around, something like this, maybe that's the plan, actually. Because the king side somehow is black is paralyzed, actually. They can never, like, let's say our king moves, they can never go here because we take, this pawn gets through.
Mm.
And they can never move the h pawn because then we go here. So, like, they can't play h6 trying to play g5, we just take. So, actually, it's a weird situation where these three pawns are completely blockaded by white's two pawns.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we actually can just march our king wherever we want. Maybe we bring it here, do some b5 pawn break, and take this pawn, and then come back after these guys, something like that. So, yeah, it's actually a pretty fascinating endgame.
Yeah, this feels very puzzle worthy.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
in-game book worthy. Type position.
And it's
Yeah.
almost computer cheat proof because
Yeah.
it's going to say do all these random king moves back and forth, and then it's going to say, like, 10 moves from now, how do you win? Almost computer cheat proof. Yeah.
Yeah.
If like you wanted to glance at the engine and get the answer, it won't tell you right away. You have to figure it out. So, okay. Anyway, in the game we have king f4, bishop e8, and she's played e4. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. It's all good. We're cruising.
Yeah. I'm like, he's got at some point he has to just yeah, his options run out.
Yeah.
I think he did he just take? It looks like he did.
I think
Yep.
he is his only choice.
Yeah. And she's immediately taking back. So yeah, we had the trade, the e-pawns are gone and he's just sad face, right now.
Is he literally sad face or is he just.
No, I'm just
Oh.
putting that on him. I'm projecting sad face on him. You
Yeah.
know.
Well, this
Uh
position is
yeah.
yeah, it's a little bit hopeless for black. There's just not much they can do. There's not really any resistance. There's no counterplay in the position, right?
Yeah.
No, no
It's just
counterplay.
now, yeah, there's not even any real danger of getting checked. It's like,
Hmm.
please do it.
Yeah, he could play this out
Yeah.
for a little while still, but also it wouldn't be unreasonable to have one of your positional resignations, Omar.
Yes. Yeah. I'm in favor of that. I want her, him to do it, resign, positional resignation, and I can post it. You know.
Every once in a while, I see your tweets, and it's like, oh, positional resignation. Look at this next last one that I just got.
Somebody, I forget who it was, but they were like, "Well, yeah, that's not." And I was like, "Well, no, technically, it's a position." They were like, "They're about to lose their queen," and I'm like, "And it's a position, and they resigned. It counts." Um, what do you do here if you're black?
You wait and you
Okay,
pray that there's no
she's
breakthrough.
not going to blow the position,
No,
so yeah,
no. In fact, like now there's even King D5 on the table. King in,
yeah. You
King
can't. There's
invasion.
nothing you can do.
You can play
Yeah,
Bishop F7, but the problem is then there's A4, and just as I said it, he played King at Bishop F7, like literally as I said it. Bishop F7
yeah.
is there. That's to keep the king out. And yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why we don't just push these two pawns. I've been calling for that for a long time, and
Yeah.
now's the time because the bishop got distracted away. We can just
What
push it.
about what about C6 here?
C6 is surely also winning, but it's unnecessary.
But like unnecessary. Like why do that? Yeah.
Yeah, you see the bar go
I'm
down a
just
lot.
yeah, I'm just being impatient.
Exactly. Now king
Yeah.
here or maybe king c7. It's all winning for white. It doesn't really change much in the long run, but
Yeah, but you
now you have to
can't get to
guard this.
D5.
You
Yeah, you
have
have
to
to guard
guard
it.
this. You
Yep.
can't get in with your king. You can play
Yeah.
this and
A3,
this.
A4 is the move. Yeah, then that and that. And then yeah,
Hmm.
now it's, you know, Miller time.
But she's resisted this a4 move for whatever reason
Yeah,
for a
she,
long time.
yeah, she's just like, no,
I mean, to be
no, I want
fair, there's no rush to do it. Like you're going to be able to play a4 at some moment. I think now is that moment. I think she's maximized what she could do on the king side, and now would be the moment to do it. I guess there's also knight e6 as a move, but I don't know why we need that move. Knight e6, that's a little trap, by the way.
huh.
Knight e6. Okay, this one's for you, chat. King c6. That's the killer blow. Black might be thinking, oh, I get in. I can go after these pawns finally.
Why don't you just fork here?
Yeah,
Knight
very
D.
nice.
Okay.
Yeah, killer blow.
I'm sorry, I ruined it for chat.
No, no, it's okay. Oh, but you
Okay.
beat Jay
I said it too
Mastermind
quick.
to
Yeah.
it. Sorry, Jay.
Yeah, I ruined it.
um, no, that's good. No, I'm glad you jumped on it. Yeah, 99.
Listen, that was the second one. That's all.
In
Yeah, I
fact, we're
told you I had the
threatening
other
it
one
now,
earlier.
so you
Yeah.
can't even do like some random pawn move because we just played 98. And yeah, actually, 96 might be just resignation time. Because to be honest, if you stop it, I can go after your pawn if I want to.
Hmm. Yeah, because
Much,
now you don't have that D pawn is gone. There
yeah,
is
D
no
pawn's gone. You're not getting
yeah.
trapped ever because I
Yeah.
you're gonna lose this, so you can't move
Yeah.
this. You could, yeah. There's actually not really a move here for black. If you do this, I could even have some fun and do this.
But yeah, I'm just
So, yeah,
enjoying myself now.
she played 96. Oh yeah, look at that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this might actually be faster than the whole A4 plan because I don't even see what black's supposed to do now. There's no resistance left. I don't think.
Yeah, I think she's just like I can do that A4 plan whenever I wanted to. And I got to be honest, I looking at this, I didn't see it, but now that we're here, maybe this was her plan all along.
Yeah, well, no. This basically was her plan was to create some sort of entry point on this side of the board because she basically had the queen side locked down. This plan was took a little longer, I think, to execute, but it's
Yeah.
also she never had a it was never out of control. It was always going to be her game at this point.
Would what she did plan wise, would this count as, and I'm forgetting the name of it. I heard Jim Canty do a stream on it. And he's got videos about it. He didn't, it's not his thing, but he was the person I saw talk about it first. And I didn't know what it was. And I honestly still don't entirely know the proper rule about it. But it's when you have fewer pawns on one side, but you attack with that side. And I forget what it's called. It's minority something.
Minority
Minority
attack.
attack?
Yeah.
Okay. Would this count as that, what she's doing?
Yeah, it's basically what she's doing because she's attacking with the 2 pawns versus the 3 pawns and trying to provoke some weaknesses. Black probably never should have played G6, although there wasn't
Mm,
really ever anything he could do. He reacted to things that he didn't need to react to. G6 I
gotcha.
actually think was a good move because there were some chances for him to take in a few of the variations we looked at and then get sort of a nasty pin on the knight. So there was some chances for him a little bit to hold if she made a mistake, but Cameron's honestly played this endgame very solidly. There's just no opportunities for Black to do anything. She didn't rush with A4. She could have, but it wasn't necessary either. And he's just been going back and forth. I mean, Black's position hasn't really changed at all, and White's position just keeps getting better and better and better. So it's yeah, pretty smooth for White actually. And now in this position, she can play a lot of different things. But Knight
So,
F8 is the move.
you know what I was thinking?
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm probably about to complicate things. Um,
Let's do it.
I was thinking C6 check just to force.
No, no, Omar does this. C6 check. He can take it with check.
Yeah, but I'm going to play knight D8.
No, but you're in
Well,
check.
he
You
can
have to
take it
get a
with
check.
check. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind that.
Now you don't. You can play knight d8, but it's not a fork anymore.
It's
Yeah.
not. Yeah, it's not getting me out of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
never
No.
mind.
Now
It
it's
was great till
probably
it wasn't.
yeah, it's probably a draw at this point. Actually, yeah.
Yeah,
Don't get
it was
fancy.
great
Keep
till
it
it was great
simple.
till it was not.
Keep it
So, hey, we should
simple.
do this. I forgot that comes with check. That I don't
Yeah.
that sucks a
You
lot.
you don't want to wait 20 moves to get to this position and then suddenly play c6 and it's a draw.
No, that's actually precisely what I would do is get to this point and go, yeah, let me tell you what happened. Then we're on Zoom and I'm explaining to you, how I blew it on move 80 or whatever it was.
I like that Cameron's taking her time here. By the way, it's really smart.
Yeah.
It's like very clearly winning. She has multiple moves that win, but she's just working it out, and she has plenty of time to just make sure she doesn't make some blunder. That's the last thing you want to do is some silly move that will throw everything away at the last minute. Yeah. While she's thinking, maybe do a quick recap of the game. Well, actually, we're going to do that with her right after the game, everybody. So when Cameron's game is over, she's going to come on the stream with us and just talk about some of the key moments and her thoughts about the game. And then we'll call it a night. So anyway, when the game finishes, don't go anywhere because we're going to hear from her and see what she was thinking about. I am curious to see if she thought about the A4 plan earlier, just going on the queen side and just ignoring the king side altogether. But this has worked out nicely as well.
I like your idea here of knight F8.
Yeah, it would be sticking with the plan is going knight F8 and
Yeah,
finally
because
breaking
now
through on
you're
that side of the board.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Finally, that'd be killer blow number one, or actually maybe killer blow number 10 of all the ones we've been looking at.
yeah.
Lots of killer blows here. Yeah.
I think he resigns if she plays knight F8.
Oh, I thought you. For a second, I thought you said he resigned, but no, he's getting
Oh,
up.
no, 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 no. Look like it was about to fall. Like, don't fall, dude. You all right? Yeah.
Knight F8 resigns. Could be. I have a feeling he's going to play it out.
Hey, Cisco kid, appreciate that.
Thanks for tuning in, Rodney. Trying to make it fun, educational.
Definitely have educational for me. This is I learned a
Good.
ton. Yeah, it's a I get to watch Kamryn, who is like a surgeon, and then you get to like tell me like, hey, this is like I wasn't even thinking about like if you weren't here to talk about all the things on the A file and those moves and those different things like
Mm-hmm.
seeing things like that bishop to A4 and how that cuts things off. That's something that I wouldn't have thought about like that like my board vision in quite there and until you see it or until you feel the pain of it enough times. Like anything that I do in my games that I've gotten better at positionally is because I've gotten them wrong so many times that I finally said, well, wait a minute. When I don't do this, this is what happens. But moves like that, like those positional moves are still, they elude me. Positional in games like this, which I'm actually kind of laughing at myself because I can remember in Cisco Ian very early on in some of our coaching sessions I think I had the audacity to say to you like yeah I think the end games are easier because that's less I can blunder and that was in a time when none of my games were going to end games anyway so it was so rare that I was like how hard is that? Middle games were tough because I didn't know what to do. But in games, you're like, all right, I have fewer choices. Why is that harder?
Yeah, end
When you
games,
actually
there's
don't have fewer choices.
just sometimes
Yeah,
the pieces just have way more moves that they can make, and you have to calculate these pawn races, which can be a lot of moves in a row, and
yeah,
you have to do it accurately. And then you have lots of different choices of ways. There's lots of branches, and it becomes even difficult for the computer. I mean, there were some variations we were looking at earlier where at first the computer was like, no, it's even, and then you give it a second or two, and it starts to realize, oh, it's actually winning for white, and that's just because of the pure number of moves it has to calculate
mm,
is very very high. And but yeah, I mean it gets to be pretty concrete at some point. It's just you have to somehow find your way through the maze of variations, and then you can also get complacent thinking, there's just a couple pieces left on the board. There's nothing for me to worry about.
yeah.
And before you know it, there's some trick that wasn't obvious, and you let your guard down a little bit. Kamryn is not letting her guard down, and is
No,
taking her time. She's spending 2, 3, 4 minutes on each move. She spent a lot of time on this move so far.
yeah.
I feel like we'll see in a minute when she moves. Oh, she hasn't moved yet. Bishop E8 still the game
I think
position.
she played knight F8, and he did not resign. So I used up my two times I
It's
was
not.
right
It's not too
today.
late. It's not too late. It's not moved yet, but this is winning another pawn.
Oh, she
He
took.
took. He took very quickly. Yeah. Well, he just may be going through the motions at this point. Sorry, this is not. My board hasn't
I was gonna
updated
say,
yet.
did that get played? Did my
No,
C6?
no. I just keep clicking on the variation. In fact, I'm going to get rid of it. No, I can't. Okay. Um. Yeah, my board hasn't updated yet. That's weird.
Okay.
Um. Okay. So I think we had knight f8 takes and takes,
Ah, okay.
and then he did some move, and I can't really see what it is. I have a feeling we might have had a DGT board
They're like,
malfunction for the
yeah,
very end
because
of it.
I'm still seeing her time clicking.
Okay, well, we
Uh,
need eagle-eyed viewers here because it's very tiny on my screen, like tinier than on the broadcast. So I know she brought
so
her
she's
knight
still
back
moving her
somewhere.
knight. Yeah.
But what did black do? Probably h6, h6 perhaps. But there's the pawn is hanging here. So what did what did he do? Yeah, I think he moved the h pawn somewhere, and she brought her knight back. I think it's
Yeah,
this.
that feels right.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is still yeah
Oh,
that
it's
that
completely crushing
yeah. This is just
because both
how
pawns
would
are
you
now vulnerable.
yeah
I don't know if the pawn's on h5 or h6. It might actually be on h5, but
he did something.
did you see what he
Did
did? The
he
king moved
did he
somewhere. The king moved to
yeah
c6, I believe.
I
Yeah,
think
king
so.
c6. And by the way, we can have Kamryn confirm all of this after the game. She has her score sheet with her,
Yeah.
and so we'll get the moves right. But I think we're on the right track right now. But it does seem like it stopped relaying the moves. That happens sometimes with
Yeah,
these
she's just and she
DGT
just
boards.
took F King F6. She just
Ah, yeah,
took.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
simple, simple enough. This will be her revenge game, as we mentioned at the beginning of the game. She
Yeah.
had played the same Donald Miller in the previous tournament, and he had beaten her. Okay, we have h5 on the board, and
Okay.
so she was definitely is going to be happy to get a little revenge here.
Yeah. And I think I'm probably forking that bishop and pawn, maybe. I don't know.
Forking the bishop and pawn, yeah, maybe. It's also we could just bring our king back to the center, play knight
Yeah.
here. There's like a million things we can do. King here, if this, then we have knight c7, wins the bishop, so they can't even try to invade. There's just not much for black
Right.
to do. Yeah, there's knight g7.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
pretty good, and we just
yeah. I
take this,
just
take
take
this
that.
pawn. Yeah,
Yep.
that's pretty simple. I mean, she has to be a little bit careful that this king doesn't run
Yeah.
in here because
I was
these
also
pawns are
thinking maybe
hard to
that knight
protect.
comes back. It's maybe that knight goes
Yeah,
to
yeah.
d4 and then ultimately to c2.
Well, we don't have to be that
Um,
passive. I think just king here.
yeah.
King here, if you want to play no risk. And again, she's thinking, which is good. Play king
And then it's where do you
e5.
go? Yeah.
Like I said, you can't go here because of the fork.
Right.
And then if black does any other move, we just go knight d4. And maybe finally we'll play a4. I don't know. Yeah. But at this point, it's very easy win. The only danger would be, like, I don't know. She'd have to waste a move like this with the plan to go this and this, and allow black enough time to
Like
come
I
and
get over
take this
there.
pawn.
Yeah.
That would be the one danger, but I still think even in this situation, let's see, does it ever get to be a problem? I don't think so.
No, because C. Well, no, C's not going anywhere just yet because that. But you can eventually get it.
We just got to
You
keep an eye
eventually get
on
that
it for
that
when
that
she
that
moves.
bishop. Yeah.
Pawn is on h5 for sure. Yeah, yeah, I think. Well, he just moved it to h5, actually. Thank you, Alyssa.
Oh, nice.
And she
Okay.
has done your move, Omar. Look at that. Look
Uh,
at that. So we have on the board, we have knight g7. This is the
yeah.
current position. And he's moved the bishop. But it's just a free pawn.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. It looks like she just took. Yep.
That might do it.
And yeah. Because now
You can't stop this.
uh
You can't stop this.
can't stop that at all.
And he's
So and there we
resigned.
go.
Yeah, there we
GG.
go.
Yep.
Resigned. Good game. Yeah,
Yeah.
good game. Very interesting end game. Pretty straightforward for her, honestly. She built up that advantage from like a very. Actually, she was slightly worse in the middle game there. Out of the opening, she was a little bit worse, but then he missed the one chance to play that knight b4 move in the opening. And I'm sure we'll take a look at that moment in just a minute. So we'll get Kamryn on stream, and then we'll go over the game briefly, and then we'll call it a night. But anyway, that's the end of the tournament for Kamryn. This was the last round, round 5.
4-5, man.
Four out of 5. Yeah, that's a
That's
really good
monster.
score.
Yeah.
A really good score.
And never did anything on the side we were thinking about. That A pawn never moved. Just hung out. He was like, I will do what I want.
Yeah,
the other side
yeah.
of the board.
I think I would have just gone for something like that, but Kamryn did it her way and it worked
Yeah,
out, so that's good.
that's but yeah, that whole your point about that king going down there and creating, he just never really. I think he never. What was he thinking about it? I think it was just she distracted him with so much of what she was doing on the other side
Yeah.
that it just never became an opportunity for him.
Yeah, well, he maybe could have defended a little bit better, but it was a hard situation for Black
Yeah.
because no matter what he does, it's just a
I love the fact that
tough
her
situation.
clock is still ticking, even though
Uh, yeah. Hi, Kamryn.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
hey,
Can you hear us?
Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
sorry. Like I have to click so many things. Okay.
Well done. Congratulations.
nice,
Thank
congrats.
you.
We
Oh
uh
my God.
we lost the DGT board feed at the end there, but we were able to follow the moves on the camera. So
Oh, great.
yeah.
Shoot, that's too bad.
Well, it was
No, I
just
think
for
we
like
got
the
it. It looks
last
like it
three
confirmed a lot
moves.
we were doing.
It was
Yeah.
just like the last 3 or 4 moves. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, it looks like you got it right.
yeah.
You want to say how to stream?
Oh, yeah, I just wondering, how do I get a hold of that guy recording the last stream? Is it available?
Oh yeah, it's on my channel. I can do I have your email?
Okay, up to you.
Do you wanna
Yeah, no.
do you wanna write it down and I can
Yeah, do you have any?
I don't. Go tell her the headphones. Thanks.
How do you feel, Kamryn? How did you feel about the
Yeah.
game and the tournament
Oh my
overall?
gosh. It was very stressful because I had to calculate so far into that end game to make sure I was actually winning. And I wasn't sure, like even at some points if it was still a draw, but I don't know. The knight just seemed better than the bishop, and those 3 pawns were just like you just could never like leave them. So I don't know. Was it ever a
Yeah.
draw?
No, it was always better for you.
Yeah.
Okay, great, great, love that.
Yeah, yeah, it was always better for you. Do you want to take a look from the beginning and just kind of go through quickly?
Yeah, that'd be great. I felt like I kind of maybe messed up a little at the beginning, or like I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe it
let's
was
see. Oh, it actually didn't really like C4. Missed opportunity here. Huh.
Oh, interest. Was I supposed to take on C5?
Yeah, actually, we didn't look at.
We didn't even think about that.
Oh,
Yeah, the
it
minute you
happened
play
so fast, I
C4,
think, that we just
yeah,
didn't really.
yeah, it was just like, all right. I mean, when you did it, we were like, oh, okay,
Or wait,
Yeah.
let's
no,
go. Yeah,
I don't. Actually, I don't think it works because then he had check with the queen to win it back. Maybe.
This is the move actually taking,
Oh, is it?
and if
And he just
Queen
did.
A5, I think we're just gonna go Knight C3, and then if takes, we have. I think the position is
Oh,
just good for you in general.
oh,
I
okay.
think it's just good. We go here. I'm not sure if there's like a tactic, but the computer says you're ahead by 1.5 almost. So
Hmm.
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah,
Maybe his queen is just like an annoyance. I don't know.
yeah. Let's see. And if the bishop just goes back somewhere, it doesn't. It says G6, which is a weird move. But if we go back, then yeah, there's nothing like super specific. It gives all sorts of different moves. Here, Knight B3, Bishop B5 check, all sorts of like unrelated moves that are good for you. So I don't know. It's
Interesting.
yeah, it's interesting. I think maybe you just have a lead in development, but there wasn't
Gotcha.
like I don't know what the miss was exactly. It's not like you missed some tactic where you win something. It's more like a
Okay.
you could have
It's
gotten
just
a
end.
positional advantage, I guess. But yeah,
Gotcha.
but we didn't mind C4. I thought it was pretty interesting, and then when he played this, it's all fine. This was good.
Yeah, I took with the idea that I got bishop b5 check, and
Hmm.
like he would be kind of tied down or maybe even lose a pawn, but he just checked with the queen, and I was like, well, all right, so much for that.
Yeah, and here you could basically block it however you want. Knight C3 was the best, but this was fine too.
Okay, I thought knight c3 he had knight d or knight e4, but maybe it's fine.
Yeah, this feels
It,
a little dangerous, right? Or maybe knight takes D5.
oh yeah, yeah, that
But
because
you
then
just
my
have
bishop.
yeah, you have Queen B3.
Oh, but he
hitting
takes my
this.
bishop. Oh, but I get that. Okay, I see.
Yeah, I think if he takes the bishop, then you're just going to take on b7. That's maybe a crucial detail to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not see that
A
part.
little bit complicated. And you're also threatening bishop b5 and the rook and queen c8 maybe. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is a disaster for black, actually.
Yeah, that's loveliness.
And the knight.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah, and the knight.
Yeah, I like all of this. All of
Yeah.
this makes me happy. Yeah. Let's go back and let's do exactly what we have here.
Yeah.
So yeah, queen d2, fine. There was one opportunity that he missed, actually, and there was only
Yeah.
really one move of yours that or I don't know about Omar, but I criticized a little bit. But that was this b3 move.
B3.
Yeah, I figured
Yeah,
you wanted to stop c4, right?
Yeah, exactly. And why is that bad?
Well, because I think first of all, it weakens your dark squares a little bit, and then also, if you wanted to take this at some point, this was the best move. Like if you go into a variation like this, a lot of times you want to play knight b3, but then your pawn was blocking that possibility.
Oh, I see.
So like
Right,
a little
you were
bit.
saying it even defends d4, right? And like you were talking about that as well.
Yeah, because you defend d4 and maybe you just blockade this pawn. Something
Okay.
like that.
And then that's a much bigger weakness.
There was a moment a little bit later, I don't remember where it was, where like now your knight can't really move.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And for a long time that night just kind of hung out there.
I know.
Yeah.
That's annoying.
And we were like, all right, well, maybe we move it here. Maybe it goes here. Maybe so we couldn't figure out a good spot. And we were even talking, I think, at one point, well, maybe we attack the bishop with the other knight and move the knight there. And then I'm like, well, now that other knight is just kind of hanging out on the rim.
Oh yeah, Omar
with
was talking
nothing
about
to do.
knight h4 at some point.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we go knight h4, and maybe I don't remember when it was. Maybe it was later, I think, but
Yeah.
I think it was
Yeah,
around
just
here.
trying to get rid of-
Thinking about knight h4, and then this to go here, but then this knight's bad. So
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, I improved one, but the other one is terrible now.
Or maybe it was bishop e6, and then the knight was bad. Yeah. So, but this was all sort of okay. I mean, you had a chance to have a slightly better position. It's still fine. There was one moment where black missed an opportunity, and I forget exactly where it was, but it's coming up soon.
Yeah, I know it's with that knight, and
Oh, bishop
with the
takes
knight,
was-
Ian went through an entire. Cameron, when you go back and look at it, you'll see an entire sequence where he uses the your opponent attacked with the knight on f6, came down. He started his approach with that knight, but the other knight had an opportunity right after this to go to b4 and cause all kinds of havoc.
I kept waiting for him to play knight b4. And like, there was a couple of positions where I thought he was good.
This was one of them. He could have played knight b4 right now.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought, and it's annoying, right?
Yeah.
Very annoying.
I have to play a3. I was gonna play, and then
Well,
there was a point where he
then
even
there's this.
he could just like stick a piece on c7, yeah, or c2. Oh my god, I'm so bad at coordinates.
It's okay. Yeah, and then he just takes the pawn. It just wins a
Yeah.
pawn. Yeah. But even if you play like a4 instead, like if you go a4 and then check, and you got to move your king, and then knight takes e3 is one way, but also they can just leave the knight there as like a thorn in your side, and then just,
I know.
play
I saw
rook
him
c8.
just like he could just have left the whatever piece. I guess the knight was probably best, but I was like very glad he didn't play that. So I just got
Yeah.
my rooks on the open file instead.
Yeah, so this maybe b3 was a little bit on the slow side and allowed him to get these opportunities eventually. Like that's the sort of like this is what it culminated in. But he didn't play knight b4 when he needed to, and I mean, castling he was still slightly better, and I think things started to go downhill for like again knight b4 is good. Yeah, and now you have a chance to play.
the
Actually,
timing on this.
now you can stop knight b4. You could play a3, which is a very interesting move. I don't know if you considered that, but
There were I don't remember if it was this moment where I wanted to play a3, just to prevent that.
probably here, I imagine.
I think it was here,
Yeah.
but then I thought, I don't know, does he have like 95?
Yeah, it looks like it, right? But I guess
Uh,
you're just casting.
Yeah, I guess my knight's defending that, so maybe it's okay.
Yeah.
It like those pawns on that side, like next to each other instead of one defending the other.
Yeah.
I just don't like that as much.
Yeah,
but,
they look vulnerable, but somehow they're perfectly fine. It's actually better this
Yeah.
way. Go figure.
I guess.
Yeah,
I guess
so-
then my inclination in that position would be to kick the knight out by pushing before, but then he just gets that nice outpost, which well, maybe it's
Oh.
not so nice. Maybe I can just take, but
yeah,
maybe not enough.
I think he can't even. Oh, there's rooks you want. Well, this we have to deal with this first, right? You have to.
Oh yeah.
you'd have to castle first, and then black will do something, and then yeah, maybe you can go here. Although here there's knight takes, but yeah, this isn't possible because you could just take.
Yeah, I was trying to hang on to that C4 square, but
Yeah,
I guess I could just leave my pawns there.
yeah, that makes
I'll
sense.
look back at your commentary.
Yeah. Okay, so castles was fine. Knight g4 was the big mistake, and then sort of like after this point, you took over basically. Like there just wasn't.
that was rap.
And
Okay,
which is sort of a surprise because the knight, like this move feels like it makes sense. It makes this weakness on e3, but turns out your king can just protect that pawn, and so it might be a weakness, but it's not easy for black to actually target it.
Yeah, because then he has to draw the bishop back, or at least after I play that, he has to like close up that file anyway, so the backwards pawn doesn't even really matter.
Exactly.
And yeah, I can just defend it with my king. Yeah, it did look scary at first. I was like, oh god, this is bad, but it actually wasn't. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that rook move was money.
Mm.
Yeah, we were looking at that. It's like, wow, that's nice. This position was very, very nice.
Well, yeah, because it was sort of remarkable how it turned around so quickly. You were at one point they were like knight b4, and you're going to be in some trouble down a pawn, and then all of a sudden, like you have no
could
problems
he
here
have
at all.
played b6 like one move ago? Or like when I first put my rook there?
Well, you're threatening this, I think.
Oh yeah, never mind.
So there's not time. Yeah. Okay. Question, Kamryn. Were you planning bishop takes a6? Did you see this idea?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was hoping that maybe he'd miss it, but
I know. I was like, please, we can go home early.
yeah. Although it was sort of complicated because I forget how the line went, but they could do some desperado. Like what was the move that we did, Omar? That they could play.
It was like
You
take
took
the
b7. Yeah.
thing, right? Yeah.
Well, they can when we take on a6, they can take on d4.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's still a little messy,
I just
but
take rooks and
Yeah.
yeah,
should be, or I even take on b7.
yeah, you can
Yeah.
take on b7 in some lines, and you're still.
There was
winning.
no sequence though that was bad for you. Like every
That's
variation Ian did of it, and you'll see it. I think the worst version of it, you each had a rook, if I'm not mistaken, and it was just like all right, there's counterplay with the additional rook and some other things to do, but none of it was bad. Like I think at worst it was even.
Well, that's good to hear because
Yeah.
I was never quite sure.
Let's see, 97. And
I think this was like only move, right? This was the only.
yeah, that was like the only really reasonable move. I guess bishop d7 was also possible, but I don't really fully understand it. Oh, bishop d7. Yeah, maybe there's a little trap here where you can't do this move because of knight takes d4. Discover attack here, and you're attacking here, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually very sneaky. And then after this, they throw in the in-between move. You go here, they take. We didn't look at this during your
Right.
game.
No, we sure didn't.
This is this would have been a different story. Yeah, this is even, I guess, but
Yeah.
some little tricks still. But 97 was like the most natural defensive move.
Yeah, I thought so.
And this was good. All of this was good. I mean, yeah, no else to say.
Was that the correct way to take with the pawn?
Yeah, surely. Both were actually. Wait a minute. Now I'm looking at it with the computer. It does also like b takes.
Oh, really?
That's a little bit of a surprise to me, but the evaluation is not that much different from each other, actually. The
Okay.
basic-
I
basically the
just
same.
figured like the 3-on-2 was better.
That was
then,
my
like-
thought, and I also really liked the d4 square for your knight. So
Yes.
I actually don't even know why we would take with the b pawn. Why we would do that? Yeah, maybe you get your knight to a5 and go after it anyway, something like that.
Yeah.
Cameron, you're going to enjoy that in the end game. Ian had entire sequences for all the pawns on the other side, and you were just like, no, I play on the other side of the board. I do what I want. I'm gonna put the knight over here. I'm gonna go over here on the entire other side and do a minority attack.
Yeah, maybe
There's
maybe
but I kept like waiting for the moment, but like maybe there was something I missed. But yeah, I felt like his bishop was always covering when I wanted to start pushing pawns.
Oh, and King F2, that's a lovely find because I'm
yeah.
sitting here like, all right, she should push E4 now. That's what we ought to do. We're doing that. Let's do it and let's take that pawn because I don't like it there. I don't like that D pawn. And then
I
you
thought
played King
about that.
F2 and got the exclam, and I was like, why is that good? Why is that the move? Yeah,
Yeah, it just seemed more complicated if I pushed E3 or whatever that pawn is.
e4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
it was more
like
complicated, and
because my A pawn is still undefended too, so it's
yeah,
mhm.
like I thought he could go like knight D4.
Yep. And then if you
And then
take, there's this,
it
and then they
takes
take this, and who knows what's happening
yeah.
here, right?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I figured let's keep some pieces on the board because it's still not very clear to me. So I didn't like the line where I just trade everything off because I wasn't sure I could get my king in time. So
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a very good choice. To play King F2. Keep it simple, right? No complications. So we liked that move. King F8. We brought our knight. All of this was good. I don't think there was really like it's the advantage for you just keeps growing and growing and growing, and
Yeah.
seemed like inevitable that you were going to win actually. So it just
he had a moment where he could have, like this moment, I think he should have played knight e7, right?
oh, instead of king there, 97. Yeah, perhaps, but it's still better for you.
Oh, okay.
What's the idea here? Oh, and now to
Yeah.
play bishop
So then the
c8.
bishop
And, yeah.
I mean, it's like ugly for him, but
Yeah, it's very ugly. Oh, actually, there's just c4. Because if takes,
oh, okay.
then you're gonna win this
I
pawn
still
anyway.
get it.
Yeah, you still get it. That pawn on b7 was just a horrible weakness this whole time. Yeah,
Interesting.
not a lot he could have done either way. I don't think. So.
Yeah, we kept looking at it and saying that you couldn't make a bad move. It was more just style. Like, okay, how do we want to go about it? And I think that was more the debate. Well, why aren't she doing this? She should go over here. And even Ian would be like, ah, but she's still winning. Even if she does this, yeah, like it was impossible to blow it.
Funny.
Yeah.
Because when you're like in the like every move felt so crucial. Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna mess this up if I play the wrong move.
well, I do think it was good for you to be taking the time that you were taking, even like when towards the end when it was very clear that you were winning. It was just you took your time and you converted it without any issues, and
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people that would rush and have messed it up.
I think back to that first game from Vegas where I messed it up for like one move and he missed it, but like we both had like a ton of time left. And I just remember you being like, you have to slow down in the end game. And so, yeah, listen.
Okay. Yeah, so that definitely paid off this game. And yeah, so I was advocating for like let's go with these pawns, let's play on the side where we have the advantage, but you had other plans. So
I was like, he can get in. I might as well just like, maneuver my king up.
Yeah, and there were a lot of plans here for you. I mean, like you could have brought your king to d4, and then that was at one point we were talking about. Then get the knight to c3 and just win this pawn basically.
Oh yeah,
that was an idea.
I just didn't want to let his king in. That was like my like main like theme was I was like just keep his king boxed out and we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah, and the thing is he never really gets in. Never really gets in. What was the line that we were like? I think it was this maybe. Like if he tries to get in, you just go here with check.
Yeah.
That was one variation. And then another was, let's see, bishop d7. I don't remember where I came up with the knight c3 plan. I think it was somewhere later, like down here, after f6. like you went king g3, and I was like, oh, wrong way, but fine. Because I think it actually would have been hard for you to do anything if he had just left his 3 pawns like this, not done anything.
Oh,
Well, f6 actually maybe was
sure.
important to stop your king from coming this way, but after that, if you just sort of sat still and didn't do anything, I think you would have kind of been running into a brick wall, and you eventually would have had to go back the other way anyway. So,
Oh, yeah. I
but
kind of did that, but then he started pushing more of those pawns, and I was like, well,
yeah,
I'll stay over here.
yeah, let's dance, right? I have my king versus your pawns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll play this, yeah. But I think we had looked at some line where like you do some long king move over here, and then you bring the knight back, and you do like this. And now black's just stuck. They can't make any progress, but your pieces are really nice. So we looked at
Yeah.
something like this, and then just a4 and b5, and the king never gets in.
Oh god.
Finally, you win the pawn, but it was like 12 moves just to get to here.
Yeah.
So
That's hard to see all the way.
yeah, it's hard to see. It's sort of hard to see.
I
On the
will
other
say
hand,
I did
yeah.
see that general idea. I don't know. It just felt too slow. And I was worried he was going to be able to create a passer on the other side, which is why I was trying to keep my king close and like let my knight take care of one side and my king take care of the other side.
Yeah.
Which, if I calculated out, he probably just can never make a passer, so it's probably fine. But
I think
just didn't
it's
want
true. Yeah, because if he ever starts moving those pawns down, your king comes over and just takes them all. But yeah, I think you're right. Like this is just safer rather than sorry sort of variation. You don't have to worry about anything, right?
Yeah.
So okay, knight b3, bishop e8. I don't know if there was any other like really crucial moment. I guess now was an opportunity to go a4.
Yeah, because he moves his bishop away from the diagonal.
Yeah, that was the one moment where it becomes easy all of a sudden. We thought that he should have gone. What was the moment, Omar? Where was
When
it?
you talking about where he gone to right here, bishop a4.
Yeah,
Wasn't
maybe it was bishop a4 right now. And I thought that this
Yeah.
would have given him, like, now your knight is sort of stuck and the pawns are blockaded. So maybe the king can go here. But this, yeah. And if king
Yeah, he's
f4,
really-
there's this.
Oh yeah.
It
I
becomes
was
hard.
looking at play this move at some point as well, because like otherwise his bishop is just kind of stuck back there, just kind of shuffling, which is what he did.
Yeah, here
And I
it's,
figured-
it's more useful, right? Doing
Yeah,
both
at
things.
least it's cutting the knight off.
Yeah,
pawns.
and you can't get in either because of this move. So this was one of the lines we looked at, but nothing was ever dangerous for you. Like it's all under control. So we weren't really worried. We were just saying like, okay, how is this going to work? But he didn't play super accurately either. F6 was probably okay, but your knight just comes in easier. Yeah, knight d4.
Yeah. Sorry, my knight a little more centralized.
I was trying to envision ways that you might get checkmated in here. Like, is it even possible for you to get?
I was a little worried about that too, but I was like, you'd have to. I don't know. Like I always have a dark square to escape to, so I thought I was okay.
I think this was the one way that we tried to make it happen. Not that we
Yeah.
wanted you to get mated, but we were like, how could this go wrong?
Yeah,
Maybe
she does
something-
this and he does
this
this.
line?
Yeah.
You're trying to checkmate me while I'm just crushing.
I think it was something like, no, it wasn't this line actually.
It wasn't this line, but
It
there
wasn't
was
this. I don't know
you had the
where it
king
was.
slide over and then all of a sudden you're just stuck and it's like, oh geez, man. I was very impressed with how you came up with it. It would have taken a lot. It's definitely in there. I can't remember the exact,
to
but I know
rewatch the
it
stream to
involved
figure it out.
getting the king. The
I'll
king
go back
over.
and watch
Yeah.
it.
It
I
was-
like watching where I win, so
Yes. It was somehow the king had to get all the way over to f7, and then they had to
Yeah.
play h6 and g5, and your king goes here, and then a bishop checkmate like this. Yeah, but
oh
it was
Yeah.
like totally ridiculous variation. So
yeah.
just in case anybody was getting nervous, it was just like it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you were ever in trouble.
No.
Was F
Other than when we were coming up with ways to make you in trouble, but like yeah, there was never. I don't think you were ever in any danger.
was F6 the right move? When I played that to block the check,
You
or
mean F5?
sorry,
Yeah.
F5.
Yeah, I mean, again, it doesn't really matter. I thought it made it a little bit harder because now you have to worry about this pin. But as long as you have king f4, you're totally fine. So
Yeah.
you followed it up
I'm
right.
calculating like, h5 and then like could he like somehow make some passer or something like that's why I thought so long in this position.
Never really works. I mean, your knight is a really good piece in this position.
Yeah, because if he trades everything, like if he trades off the minor pieces, then I'm fine. Like I just win. So that's why I figured it was a good time for that move. But
yeah.
he didn't even take it.
Okay, bishop e8, and then all of this was good. Like there was never really any problems. You have like a million different ways to win, but the way you chose was perfectly good.
Yeah, I felt good once that pawn went away. Once that D pawn was gone, I was like, okay, all right, I'm relaxed now.
And 96 was probably the killer blow because there's just nothing black can do. Totally helpless here.
Yeah, and he has to watch out for forks and
all sorts of forks. Yeah, you can't go here because of this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was a nice game. It was smooth, finished off nicely at the end. I don't know. It was good. You made our job easy because we didn't have to worry at all. I was not sweating bullets or anything.
We were predicting like, okay, I think he's going to resign here, and he was like, no, I play on.
He did.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I will not tap. You will show me. You will prove it.
Quite strong. The last time we played just for chat, I don't know if you guys mentioned, but he beat me because I've played him before.
Yeah, we talked about how it was a revenge game, and I was like, I like it. Let's get revenge. Yes. Now I'm a little nervous because he's going to watch this back and hear me talking trash. So, we may need to change my name on this because he might show up at my door like, oh, revenge. Now I want revenge on you, sir. Right.
I think he's a little too nice for that.
Maybe Omar, you'll be number one on his list.
I'll be exactly. I just earned my way onto his list, and he's an arbiter too. I show up in an event, and he's like, "Oh, it's you."
Yeah. I saw you touch your queen there on move.
Touch move.
Yeah. Now, anyway, Kamryn, congratulations. 4 out of 5. It's pretty good.
That's monstrous. Love it.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the result. I wish I'd won the first one too, but then my next games probably would have been harder. So, oh well, it is what it is.
Yeah. We'll take 4 or 5. We'll take that.
Yeah, I'm glad we ended on a win.
4 out of 5, a little revenge.
Yeah,
winning streak.
4 or 5, winning streak. Yeah.
Maybe a little cash if you're lucky. I don't know what the standings are like, but
I'm gonna have to go ask them. I don't know. I assume our section's not done yet, but I mean, I'm probably gonna hit the road because I'm trying to drive back tonight, which may or may not have happened. But
Kamryn, you gonna get any rating from this event?
Pretty doubtful because my first round loss was to a 1300, and I played down every other game. So I guess I don't know how the math will all work out, but yeah, that'll definitely tank it a little bit. But
so you may just have broken even. That's the hope.
Yes,
what I'm hoping. Yeah.
So, but oh well. I'm glad to have played well and ended on a win and all the good things and had successful streams. Which, by the way, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Ian and Omar, for commentating. Obviously, makes it so much better for the viewers. So we really appreciate having you guys here.
It was my pleasure.
Likewise. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is fun. It's fun every time.
Well, that's fun. Good to hear.
Thanks for having us, Kamryn.
Of course.
Yeah.
Chat, thanks for watching. I can't see you, but I will be live sometime in the future. I don't know. I'm still really busy, so it might be a couple of weeks. But we'll maybe go over some of the games. I don't know. We'll see. You just turn on your notice. You know what to do. I'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Well, take care. Bye-bye.